What's going on, everybody? Primal Therapist here, and you are watching AOMecha Live. Let's get it.
Hey, what's up, guys? Good evening. It's Saturday night here in Toronto. You're watching AOMecha Live, the Spotlight episode tonight. Our guest is Taz Gample, all the way out in Hawaii. It's going to be an awesome show. We've been building this up for some time now, and I'm very much looking forward to chatting with him about a whole bunch of stuff. So again, tonight's show is going to be slightly a bit different. We're not going to be doing as much builds per se, but we're going to be talking about stuff that is crucial and I think important to talk about in our hobbies. But before we do that, I just want to say hi to everybody joining us both on Twitch and on YouTube. Over at Twitch here, I saw Greg, Wildsake, we see DT Warrior, hopefully, I think I saw Randy earlier on in there. And then everybody else on YouTube. Let's see here, I see Neon Wave here. I see Merc joining us as well. Guys, welcome to the show. So what did we do? Let's do a quick recap of what we did this week. So Monday we did a one-day build, which is her, Asuka Langley from Evangelion. Awesome kit. This is the Figurized Labo. And it's hands down one of my favorite statue kit ever. So this thing right now is a good baseline for that. And then we started building the RG Zeong. So we're going to be continuing this build this Monday coming up on the Backlog Builder episode. Now, if you guys don't know who our guest is, Plamo Therapist has a YouTube channel. Awesome content there, and it's stuff I wanted to talk about more. It's just I've just been so busy, but I'm so glad someone like him is tackling on a lot of these subjects and topics that like I said, I believe is crucial to our community, our hobby, and ourselves. So anyways, why don't we go see what's going on? Let's bring Taz in and see what he's saying tonight. Hey, Taz.
Hey, what's going on, Ariel? How you doing?
Good. Welcome to the show, and I'm very glad that to have you here as a guest tonight. I've been looking forward to our conversation for some time now, so thank you for this.
No, thank you for having me on here. I'm really honored to be here.
Awesome. So before we get started, again, I just want to say hi to everybody both on YouTube and on Twitch. I also saw Operation Stardust there. That's Tetsu's new name. So,
hey, Tetsu!
I'm still gonna call him Tetsu no matter what. It's kind of like Ben Voigt with his new name, and I'm like, I know who you are.
I'll always be Tetsu.
Let's see here. I saw Greg from Twitch. He's saying that like I got this in the background while I'm doing stuff for work. Hopefully, it will make it more bearable. Hey, if you think our voice is sexy enough, intriguing enough, and titillating enough, by all means, shout out to you there, Greg, and hopefully your work goes well tonight. So Taz, welcome to the show. It's crazy how we kind of like I've known your work because like I've seen it like pop into my feeds here and there, but like I got to know you more when I actually started watching it as we built the show. You have some really interesting POV on your channel here. So Plamo Therapist, guys, it's pronounced therapist, just so you guys know. But for those who might not know you as well, do you mind doing a quick intro about yourself and about your hobby?
Yeah, my name is Taz Gample. I run the YouTube channel Plamo Therapist. It's a one-man production, so I do everything from researching content to filming it to editing to posting and sharing out on social media. Kind of much love like what we have here on AOMecha as a one-man show here. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun kind of putting the two things that I really love together, which was mental health, which I've gone to school for, and something that I really love, which has been model kits. And for me to find a way to kind of mesh those two things together is kind of how my YouTube channel kind of came to be, and to look at a lot of the topics that I've put up in my videos, talking about a lot of the things that I think a lot of people who are going through this hobby might be asking or might be looking into, is because these are some things that I went through, things that I've kind of asked about and things that I've kind of wondered. So I'm thinking, if I thought about those things, I'm pretty sure some other people have wondered these same things too. And I figured, I'll put, the things that I've learned, my thoughts and my experiences out there, because, before I even started this, I was kind of a private guy and I didn't have a lot of the social media presence that I do now. And so The community has been so welcoming and just like welcoming me with open arms and like receptive to a lot of the videos. And I'm really blessed that people have been responding so well. And so I'll just continue to keep sharing what I love because it's what I love.
That is an awesome message. And like I said, your POV on things, positive outlooks, positive video content, not just video content, photo contents, everything about that you pump out drew to me because I'm like, this is what the hobby should be or can be for a lot of people. And we're gonna be talking more about that. But guys, again, thank you so much for joining in. You sent over some photos. We're gonna get to that as well in a second. Now, for people who don't know, again, where you are, you're in Hawaii, right?
Yeah. So I'm in an area called Aiea, which is basically up the hill from Pearl Harbor. And what's really awesome is every morning when I leave my house and go down to work, I can look out over the harbor and just see, I can see Battleship Missouri, Arizona Memorial, and things like that. And so, like, I would dare to say it's picturesque out here.
I know, and I saw some of the photos on that one. And we were just talking about the Hawaiian hello. So I was saying it wrong the whole time, and I'm so happy that you corrected me. So guys, if you guys are going to Hawaii, it's not apparently, and this is coming from Taz, correct me if I'm wrong, everybody else in Hawaii, that it's not a long saying of like aloha. It's not that long. It's just aloha. And that's
yeah. So, and just like kind of talking about that, it's like the commodification of our culture where people kind of have been using it to kind of draw the tourist in, and it's more of a show thing as opposed to a respect to the language. And so if you're in Hawaii and you hear it, it's aloha. Just a short, quick, like hello. We don't say hello. That's basically what you're saying when you say it like that.
Do you give people like weird looks sometimes when they're like, okay, so you're not from the mainland or you're not from here? Well, aloha to you, Taz. And let's kick things off. Why don't we jump into it? We got some photos here about your life. What are some of the first photos we're going to be looking at, man?
So this is my wonderful, beautiful family. This was from the day that I proposed to my fiance. So that's my fiance there. Hi, Kaimi, if you're watching, I love you. Thank you for supporting me all the way through here. And then that is my our wonderful dog, Haru. She is our ball of sunshine. She is so much fun and she's so loving and so caring. I mean, I'm just so blessed to have such a wonderful family and such a strong supportive structure for me to be able to do what I love.
This is an awesome photo. Congratulations to you and your fiance.
Thank you.
And I wish you the best in this next chapter. But your pupper, oh my God, the cutest thing I've ever seen in the show. All right, it's up there with Kaz's cats and it's up there with Meg's cats as well. But like, wow, it's always good to see the pets being part of the family. It is so. You have an adorable pup here, man. That is great. All right, so next one here, you were talking about the great views in Hawaii. This one, when I saw it, I'm like, oh man, I'm so jealous because Hawaii is still in my travel destination to go still. So what can you tell us about the next photos here?
Okay, so this is actually me and one of our exchange students. One of our friends came from Japan and was staying with us. And so we had a canoe that we took out and we go canoe surfing. And so much like regular surfboard surfing, we actually use the canoe to catch waves and things like that. And so what you see is right now we're between sets just kind of waiting. That mountain in the background is Diamond Head. We're out in front of, not directly in front of Waikiki Beach. We're a little bit off closer to Diamond Head. But from where we are, we just paddled straight out and we can catch waves, kind of turn around, just kind of go back and forth catching waves. And so this was her first time in Hawaii. And so we figured surf's up. It was going to be a lot of fun. And so it's really awesome is we caught some waves too, but if you can see, I don't know if you can see clearly, but that water is just super clear and we ended up diving off. Yeah.
So here you are in the ocean. Is this a surfboard or are you just swimming in the ocean like Aquaman? What's going on here, man?
So this is body surfing. And so a while ago when I used to body surf a lot, I'd go out to a beach called Sandy Beach. And one of the things about Hawaii is when you come and you watch the surf reports, we measure from flat up, not from trough to tip. And so a lot of the times when people come to Hawaii, they see the surf reports, they're like, oh, the waves are kind of small, but that's because we're measuring from flat to tip, not from trough to tip. So generally, if you see the surf reports, if you're from the mainland, you look at the surf reports, double that, because that's generally what it looks like for the mainland surf reports. But here in this picture, there's no board, it's just me I have a pair of fins on, but I'm riding one of the barrels because that beach is awesome for body surfing. And I'm going, if you can see, I'm not coming straight in, and that's because if you come straight in, what happens is the barrel will pitch you over and can be very dangerous. And so you generally tend to kind of go to the sides. Yeah.
Speaking of clear blue water, when I saw this photo, at first I'm like, hey, that's a nice fish over there, or is that person dead? It's just like, like, why are you sending me, like, is this evidence you should not be sharing? What's going on?
Yeah, so from when we went canoe surfing, there were some spots and some places where it wasn't as, there weren't as many waves. It's a little bit calmer, a little bit clearer. And so from the top of the boat, which is where this picture was taken, you can see straight down to the bottom, and about, right about down, I want to say it's about 20, 30 feet down.
That's 30 feet down. Holy, I'm scared going down. 8 feet down. So I don't swim well or at all. I'm a horrible swimmer. But I can lay at my back and float, no problem. I'm not scared of water. Yeah. But I'm scared of my feet not touching the ground. However, not to take away from your story, because I went to Mexico last year with some of my friends, and they introduced me to life jackets. And at the time, I'm like, you know what? This is for kids. I'm gonna look silly in it. But I put that on, and we went to a cave on cenotes, in these caves, and we were like inside a cave for 2 hours. We were like knee deep into like no light, no nothing, and there's a pool of water there called cenote, and it's like you can't see it unless you have like torchlights, or not torchlights, but like flashlights or whatever. And the life jacket, there's a line that cuts across so you could keep continuing. But if you can't swim, you use this line. But if you could swim, you just go ahead and do it. I can't swim, so I'm like, I started going in, and the minute I couldn't touch the water, the life jacket kicked in. I'm like, wait, I'm not going down? Oh, this is great. So I was like in the water for like the longest time, and I'm like, this is what you guys feel when you guys are in the water? Yeah, but we're actually using our legs, Ariel. And I'm like, well, I'm not, and I'm enjoying it. So
actually, if you look in that picture, there's a little black bar kind of like just a little bit above the pants line. That's actually a weight belt to help me keep me down. And so there's a little weight right on the square of my back. And that helps me to stay down because you float naturally in salt water, right? So because I'm a little bit of a bigger guy, I need a little bit of help going down to stay underwater. And so there's the weight belt, which helps me get down, which helps me use less energy to stay down longer.
Gotcha. Just want to say a quick hi to everybody that's joining us. I saw Monkey Baby saying hi. Edsel Reyes is saying hello, guys. Let's see here from Merc, One Man Army. Hard to do, but has the highest payout off them all. We're going to touch base on that. Okay, so I want to talk about your content creation, your process, and obviously, the one-man army, as so to speak. Neon Wave, in the world of Pokemon, it's Aloha. Alola. Okay. Let's see here. Over on Twitch, I see Vince Hobby Spot joining us. Louise, all the way down in our South American side. Hello, my friend Ariel and Plamo Therapist. Ooh, Hawaii, the weather is similar to my country in Puerto Rico. Hawaii is so beautiful. So we got someone watching out there in Puerto Rico. And awesome. Owen is here. He's saying, what up, Ariel? And Hobbyworks Randy, which I already called your name out earlier. I was like, I don't know if you're here or not, but Randy is here. Guys, welcome to the show. We have Taz here, Plamo Therapist. We're going to get to that origin story, but let's keep going. Let's keep going. The next photo here, one of my favorite photos, was so exciting. Guys, I almost use this as the main photo for Taz, but I'm like, you know what? It's gonna set the bar too high for all future guests. I don't think it's fair for them, so I thought I'd save it for the show, so you guys are getting some exclusive. I want to say exclusive because like I was really, and I told you this, Taz, when I was putting it together. It's like I was so tempted to do this. This is the fire knife that you mentioned. This is one of your cultural events out in Hawaii. Can you tell us a little bit about it? Obviously, I'm not as versed or familiar with it, but it looks really exciting and looks dangerous. Like, what's going on here, man?
Yeah, so definitely one of those, they say don't try this at home, but this was actually for when I was up in undergraduate doing my undergraduate psychology degree. There is a club on campus called Nahomana o Hawaii, which is the people of Hawaii. And what we do is every year we put on a luau, which is our show. And what we do is we introduce different types of dances from different types of cultures all around the Pacific Islands. And so Ariel, when you and I were talking, we mentioned like your Filipino culture, and one of the dances we had was tinikling, which is
Yes,
the
yeah.
bamboo sticks, and I did one of those as well. But one of the other ones that I was completely drawn to, obviously, was fire knife. And so this is actually Samoan slash Tahitian, and it was used to prepare warriors before they go into battle. And it's kind of like a hype up thing where we kind of do, crazy things with fire.
That's the thing, like, like you see the football guys doing their huddles, you see, like those guys, like, jumping up and down in basketball. But this guy here, nah, we're gonna take that knife, we're gonna put some fire on it, we're gonna try to eat that thing. All right, I'm gonna lean with those guys just because like they seem they're not messing around now. These guys mean kind of business. I know that in what is that? Is it in New Zealand? They have the battle dance. Oh, I forgot what it's called.
The haka.
It is the haka, yes. And
yes,
every time I see compilations of that, especially on like rugby or even football or whatever have you, when they do the haka, it's just like, yeah. And the other team is just going like, well, our country doesn't have anything like that, so we're just gonna stand here, link arms, or like just kind of look at the grass and kind of like, oh, whatever, we're gonna do it. And it's cultural dances like this, especially the history significant on it is always so awesome to learn. So how many times have you done this, and what was it like for you to do this, to partake in it?
So I actually, my freshman year, I wasn't a part of the club. I was kind of just still trying to figure out my thing. And so when I saw that they had that, I'm like, sign me up for next year. I'm down. So sophomore, junior, and senior year, I did all 3 years. I did fire knife. And so this one is from my senior year practice. And actually, I wish I still had the video from it. I couldn't recover it. But basically, I went with, so I started off with one, which has fire on both ends. And then I eventually graduated to doing two with fire on both ends of two. And so,
are they heavy?
It was,
when
they're not. What's funny is that these aren't actual fire knife sticks, like the ones that the actual like performers do, like here in Hawaii for the luau's on, like whenever you come to see the shows here. We had to make our own, and basically it's a wooden doll with a towel wrapped and soaked in gasoline with wires and everything. It's completely unsafe, but it was just so much fun to do, and so like I just had a lot of fun with it, to partake in it and just do something that was just like.
How long of a prep time did you have to get to this level, or did you just kind of like, I'm gonna pick this up, I'm gonna put it in my mouth, let's go? Kind of thing.
So something like this is just kind of like you just kind of got to do it. And again, don't try this at home. I can't stress that enough. Please don't take this as a recommendation to go do it. But for our show, so our show was during spring break, like right after spring break. And what we would do is right at about December, January, coming back from our winter break, we would kind of get started. And so each year from January to about March, April, we would be practicing almost not every, like towards, as we got closer, it would be every night, but kind of earlier on, it might be like once a week and then kind of twice a week. And so when we start off, obviously we don't start with fire on the stick. We start off just kind of practicing the stick not lit, and then eventually we move up to adding the gasoline and then the fire to practice at night.
So what are you scared, or like has this ever happened where like either your eyebrow or your hair catches on fire? And fire like dropping onto your like sleeves? You're obviously shirtless here, so I was like, you have no protection at all from any type of fire drips.
Well, that's the thing too, is that if that catches on fire, that's going to stick to us, and so we take it off so we don't burn that stuff. But and the idea is that the momentum of the fire spinning in and of itself keeps the heat from coming in towards your hands. And again, because the fire is moving so rapidly, you don't actually burn yourself. But the thing was, my senior year, I went off to do another luau at another college who was doing something similar to perform there. And I went for big fireballs. And what I realized was that because fire takes oxygen, I had a hard time breathing because they were so big. Yeah. And so I had to cut the 2 stick segment short because I was just like, I can't breathe. Okay.
Awesome stuff. Well, hopefully you post some of this if you find your videos on your channel, because like I'm kind of interested to see you do it in person. Obviously you also like worldly travels. This is a trip that you mentioned that you were in Japan. What were you doing in this photo here?
Okay, so I think this was my second trip to Japan, and not the not the exchange student that was in the canoe, but another friend that we've had. She came to Hawaii, and I took some time off of work, and I just took her around. She didn't know English very well, and I've been slowly forgetting all my Japanese from college, and so I took her around islands, and she was so grateful that when we went up to go visit them, it was right around New Year's time, and so they invited us out to their family home. They have their own rice fields where they grow their own rice out there in Japan, and so from their rice they actually made mochi for us, and they have the actual like modern pestle that you see there.
Mochi.
Yeah, and so that's me hammering the mochi to make it into like that nice soft texture that we love. And what's really funny is that my name is Taz, and when you say it in Japanese, it's Tazu. And the lady there that's helping, which is our friend's auntie, her name is Tazuko. And so they kept making the joke, Tazu and Tazuko mochi.
Well, that's cuter than Taz. I was telling you earlier, I might actually call you Tazu from now on. Awesome stuff here. Did it like, do you have photos of it when you finished it, or like how did it taste? Like what was, describe what was the process and how it ended up getting cooked and all that?
So it's definitely softer than store-bought and heated up. And I think what's really nice about it is that you can, like, I know a lot of people don't really feel this way, but when you definitely cook something with people, there's definitely something else to the meal. And so when
the other person.
And when we made these and we no, but like when we made these, you could tell that like there was like some care put into it, you know. Yes, and it's funny when it's all hands on deck, because we had some nieces and nephews that were running around, and they were folding it and making the azuki bean. They were putting the azuki inside and folding it up to make daifuku mochi. I think it's called daifuku, where it's like the azuki bean inside. And so you could just definitely, it's definitely takes it away from just like we're eating something cultural to like we have made this and we have like, we're enjoying this as a family. And it's really funny because we had just met them that day, and they felt like family, and it was just so awesome.
Oh, that is great. That's always a good feeling. Now, you said that was your second time in Japan. Is this from the second time or the first time?
This is from the second time still too. We find, this is actually my third trip to Japan.
Third trip? Holy crap. I've not gone there yet. I'm very envious now of you, for the record.
Yeah, and so this is at Odaiba, and as you guys can see, that is the unicorn statue in the background. And Ariel's question that he normally asks his
I'm gonna ask this question, and I say this to everybody that comes to the show that flexes their RX either 78.2 or their RXO. Did you touch the unicorn?
I did not. And that's because I want to be welcome back. I want to be able to go back, and I don't want to be, the dumb gaiji that went up.
We're batting like 0 for 9 now with no one touching this. 2025 AO Mecha Japan trip. I'm gonna give that thing a nice whopper. That's what's gonna happen in there. And Taz, you're more than invited to come, because I do need someone to film it and or like save me from the people. So that's just an offer I'm gonna say to everybody out there. Help me. But seeing it,
I'll be like, oh my god, look, it's AO Mecha. What is he doing? Oh my god.
Oh no, and post it online, guys. Oh my god, he like high-fived it. Oh man. So what was it like seeing the the unicorn?
I was actually surprised just how I didn't realize that it actually transformed. Seeing it in unicorn mode during the daytime was really cool. But what was really awesome was at night when you got to see it light up and change colors. I was just like, that is nuts. And I wish I had stayed to actually watch the transformation. I didn't get a chance to because we were doing other things. We had some friends that have never been before, so we were taking them around. But I was just happy to I was honestly just happy to be there.
Yeah, no, I would be too. And it looks like, is that your fiance at the back over here?
That's her.
That's awesome. And I love your like, oh my God face. And this is really great. Just quick thing. Let's take a look at the chat right now over at Twitch. Hero is here. How's it going? Welcome to the show. Hero saying, I've never gone to Japan either. I know, you and me too, man. Like, let's plan a trip. Anybody who's going around 2025, I think that's the date that I'm looking at now. Owen here saying, what up, Hero? Also, Mecha God, he's saying mochi. The mochi. Oh man, mochi. I'm like I told you, after seeing that, I'm kind of getting hungry now. Killing time, thinking about making a tablet mount for my racing sim. Oh, okay, they're just chatting there. Okay, cool. Awesome. Over at YouTube, Torch blowing. That is from Merc. I hear the Mayan Riviera has a nice crystal clear water as well. Nice.
Oh,
I love Shiba Itsus. They look gorgeous. Hope we can talk about being a dog dad. Oh yeah, we could talk about being a dog dad.
yeah, we could totally talk about being a dog dad.
Let's see. A Gunplay saying hi, hello everybody. Let's see here. Haka. Yes, we were just talking about the Haka dance there. Very intimidating as well. Obviously to do the fire knife. If it's dangerous, instead of trying it yourself, trick a friend who owes you money into trying it. Hey, I love the creativity and genius of this. Oh my god, Tigers has subscribed for another tier 1 for 4 months. Oh, that's so awesome. Thank you for subscribing, Tigers. How are you tonight? And welcome. Glad the power duo down in Texas could join us. Owen and Tigers, shout out to you guys. Quinn is here. Hey. Oh lol, we have to run interference so you can give the uni a good slap. I know, right? Like, I get all my buds, my boys, you guys, everybody, do a block. We'll just like go there, slap that thing. I want my imprint to last. I'm gonna be
okay. If you're gonna go the whole 9 yards, you gotta lick it.
Oh my god, I'm doing her face now too. Like, oh snap! I like that idea. I think we will take on that challenge. Okay. Gold S rank will be licking it. A rank will just be slapping it. B rank if you get over the fence. I think those are the top 3 tiers that we're gonna do. My god, man, I like where your mind is at. Let's see here. We're gonna get to the chat a little bit. I know people are just still coming in. Riot is here too. Riot, welcome all the way from the West Coast. We have so many people from all over the place, and that's what I love about the show, the audience, and the community. Being international, and man, it just feels so awesome. I've never spoken with anybody from Hawaii, and I was like, when we were talking about this, we were I thought in my head you were like maybe 3 hours, 4 hours. You're a full 6 hours away from me. And I was like, man, so it's like what, like 4 p.m. there right now?
It is 3:32 right now.
My God, it's like 9 o'clock here. I can see the stars and everything. So the only stars here that I see is these two over here. Look at this pose. So what's happening here, man?
So this is actually my graduation for my master's program. This was back in 2019 when I graduated with my master's in science of counseling psychology. Right. And I have an emphasis in school counseling because that's what I do now. I'm a school counselor.
That is so awesome. And being a school counselor, again, thank you for that, because I think you are helping with the next generation of, you know, our young ones, the next generation of potential people that will carry not just our, you know, our society, but our community as well, like, you know, people. So what is it like, if you don't mind me asking, like, you know, what is it like being a teacher, or sorry, not a teacher, but a counselor in a school? And do you mind talking about like what grades, or like, is this elementary, high school?
So I'm an elementary school counselor, and it's really interesting because going into the program, I knew I wanted to go into school counseling, but in my head, I was like, I don't want to do elementary. Nope, I'm not great. You know, like I had previous jobs working at like a summer program working with kids, but in my mind, I'm like, no, I want to do high school. But big thanks to my internship, my supervisor, when I went to go do my elementary school hours, like he was really great. He gave me a lot of freedom. He helped me to like, hey, go do some classes with students, teach them some social emotional learning. You know, you have a couple of students you want to do counseling for, great, pull them in. Do you want to do a group here? Let's get you a group set up. You know, he was really great, really encouraging, so that when a position opened up for an elementary school, I was like, yeah, I'll take it. You know, I was really excited, and you know, I've been there since. This is my first school. This is my second year, and so last year was a crazy year to get into it.
Wow. Is it just during the pandemic, or like what's your timeline from last year for that?
So I started in August of 2019. So right after I graduated, I already had school lined up, and so we started the fall, we did the winter's term. January kind of rolls around, and there was some kind of like questioning as far as what's going on with the pandemic. And then I remember it was like the last day of spring break, and they said, no, we're going on full lockdown. And I was like, oh, this is happening. And then continuing to work in the schools, it was, you know, I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but like our school and my fiance, she works at a school too, like both of our schools are just nonstop. Like, what are we going to do? How do we reach these kids? How do we continue to further their education when everything has come to a halt, when, you know, we can't see them in person? And it's just really interesting to see how teachers are like, we'll do what we have to do,
Mhm.
and I think teachers this year, I think don't get enough credit. They never get enough credit for what they do. And just like on top of all the things they already did, having to adjust, having to learn a whole new thing, like teaching online, I got to hats off to the teachers out there. Anyone, if you're a teacher out there, I thank you so much for all you do,
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, my grandmother was a teacher, and I grew up in a house of educated people. And again, I do stress it. Like I think education is important, especially in our times. I mean, you could learn so much off the internet, yes, given, but you kind of I think lose the social aspect of that, right? Like because the thing is, a school is also not just learning about the whole curriculum and whatnot, but it's also a life experience. I think, anyways. Like what's your take on education in school from a counselor's perspective?
Well, for me, like the biggest thing that you get out of a school is that social interaction, like you said, like people learn how to make friends. They learn how to communicate with others. They learn how to advocate for themselves.
Yeah.
I think like one of the biggest things this year was that a lot of the students, and I probably would have been the same way too, but a lot of the boys are like, we're on lockdown. All right, gaming all day, every day. And it got to the point where for a lot of the students were just like, there's nothing else to do anymore. I'm done playing games. I'm bored. And just for me to talk to them like, hey, why don't you come to class? Come show up, come say hi, come see your friends, and see if that is fun for you. And a lot of them, they'd show up to class and they'd be so happy to hear their friends again, see them. It might not be like in person, but like this, where I can see you, that connection was so strong that I got, some students to come back just to see their friends because that they missed it so much. And so, I think this pandemic has really hurt their social growth, but I think it also just kind of taught them to value the time that you have with your friends.
Absolutely. A couple of questions about your if you don't mind me asking about your work. What would you say are some of the major challenges that you face being a counselor?
I think the biggest challenge is honoring what the parents want while still advocating for the students. I think a lot of parents, they're struggling to trying to make ends meet, and then now having to help their child get online for classes, helping them to be present for the things that they need to do for school, while also making sure that their work obligations are being met. Or if they don't have work, how are their needs being met? A lot of people lost their jobs, and I know like for parents, it's just stressful to not know like where the next paycheck's going to come from. Are we going to get another stimulus check? Is unemployment going to come through this month or not? And I know a lot of it's stressful for the parents. And so sometimes like having their kid get on for school isn't the most important thing at that moment for them, but it's trying to help the parents realize like, I understand that you're worried about these things, but we are worried about your child, and we want them to grow. We want them to continue to succeed, and we want them to continue on with their friends and their peers. If they fall behind and they have to be held back, what does that tell them? How do they feel like knowing that their friends are a whole grade level above them now? And so just advocating for the students while also being mindful and courteous of the family and their interactions, I think was probably the biggest challenge this year. Now,
to contrast that, and thank you for sharing that, because like again, these are some of the insights I guess that us anyways, like normal folks probably don't have, because like we are focused on, if for parents anyways, I could only imagine what the type of care that you need to provide, especially with these times and needs, very trying times that we have. But being a school counselor also, like what is the most rewarding part of your job?
Honestly, just like, I think it's really funny, and my fiance can kind of speak to this too, but when you just walk through the campus, you're walking through like the halls, it's like, it's Mr. Gample. Hi, Mr. Gample. It's like, hey, I can't recognize you with your mask on, but hey, student.
Exactly. Oh, that's awesome. And that's very cool. Like, again, hopefully this comes down and you get to see them in person again, because I think that's something that we learned this year that I think people tend to get I don't know, take it for granted in a way, because like you never know when stuff like this hits, and it becomes so real so fast that like people are are in shock or in awe or like in panic, and again, but the thing is about this pandemic also it's also resulted in people utilizing their time, their passion, their skills to explore their hobbies. We're gonna get to your early works next, because I want to talk to you about that. But first, I just want to say hi and welcome to everybody both joining in YouTube and Twitch. We have so many people joining us tonight. Just gonna read a couple of comments here so we can get all caught up. Let's see, where did we end off? Tricking your friends to owing money to do it. Let's see here. Operation Stardust is saying, or Tetsu saying, wow, that's awesome. Let's talk about the Gundam base experience. Yeah, like I think we did. We talked a little bit about like your experience and all that stuff. Did you actually go and check out the Gundam base and like everything Gundam related? How many kids did you bring back? Real question on that.
For me, it wasn't the number of kids. It was what is the biggest box I can fit in my suitcase. And so I want to say, I don't know how long I spent, and my fiance was so patient with me because she knew how excited I was, and she's just like, once you decide, then you can get it. And right. I came home with the RX-78 Verka, and nice. I came home with, at the time it was 2018. It was the limited edition Double Zeta Verka. That was a clear version. I didn't know it was a clear version at the time, but I saw it said limited items. So I'm like, okay, it's limited.
Nice. Okay, let's take a look at what other questions here or comments. Lick it. Yeah, that is definitely the new thing now. We just raised the bar. This guy is, I love where you're going with that, by the way. Ben Voigt is here. We just talked about him too. Oh, sorry, Kaio Mecha. Hello everyone and welcome. Neon saying, let's make sure no one tries to go over the top. Give some idiots freedom, and they may try making love to the statue. Oh my god.
We don't want to set precedent. We don't want to set precedent. Okay.
I want to put a line somewhere. But Travis Chaos is here as well. Evening, y'all. Here's a couple of comments from Merck. School don't teach trash nowadays, and after administrators dissed me on the way out, I got plenty of access to grind with them. Oh, and I'm sorry to hear that, man. Which is why I don't bother to go to any of my college graduation commencement. Again, I think it just comes down to the system, and you know what? It's always going to be one of those like we wish they could have done better. Like for me, it's like I wish they would have taught taxes. I wish they would have taught what do you call it? Mortgages and basic adult stuff, which I think they're getting better at now, from what I heard. But again, I think it's just maybe just a generation or the way when we went to the school for that. Over at Twitch, a couple of comments here. Oh my god, there's so many comments on Twitch. Just say hi to everybody here. Owen and Tigress here. Aw shucks. Just a short bit. I'm totally down to lick that thing. Okay, so Owen is gonna come with us to lick that thing. I can't think of worse reasons to be kicked out of Japan. Does it have a cockpit? That's a question from Mecha God. I don't think it has a cockpit for this one, but I know the RX-79. Sorry, keep saying 79. RX-78-2, the one at We're gonna get this right. Fukuoka is Fukuoka. Yeah, that one has a cockpit on that one. I want to hump its oh my god, Jesus guys, babe, this doesn't work if he knows we're both degenerates. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Love Hawaiian shirts by Tiger's saying love the Hawaiian shirts. I love your Hawaiian shirt, Taz. Awesome color. I love that we're contrasting too. It's like you went for the hotter color, I went for like the cooler color. Awesome shirt. You look handsome today.
I wore my favorite color, red, and I know had to rep my favorite color here, Mr. Orange over there.
I know I couldn't find my orange shirt, so we're gonna have to go with the blue on this one. Teachers are great, but volunteer teachers and teachers' aides also need great recognition as well.
Oh, absolutely.
That is absolutely. It's tough for kids and their social development, especially if some kids have trouble at home. A lot of factors definitely are into play. A lot of work for both parts. Let's see. Also knowing when something works out right. Yeah, I had a few teachers that I was like, what the hell with? Oh no. Cool teachers are the best. And right here, I could tell right away, I wish I was in your school as a teenager or even as elementary, because like, you're a cool dude, Taz. Let's see here. There are always greet old ones, and when they come shopping through. Oh wait, cool teachers are, I'm getting lost here, hang on. And then Owen is saying, I wish they would teach people to use resources available to them to find answers. We have the shared wisdom of humanity at our fingertips. We need to be using it. Absolutely on that one. Last couple of comments here before we get to some more photos. Over at YouTube, Wayola, he said fiance. Yes, love it. Neon here saying, here's a hack, drop out like I did. Oh my god, that's not a hack. That's like that's like shortcuts. We should customize the 1-to-1 scale unicorn, custom paint and scribe it, right? Yes.
Oh, no.
How does Taz feel about Hawaiian pizza and knowing it was invented in Canada? Ooh, by a Greek immigrant.
There's nothing Hawaiian about Hawaiian pizza, and I'll leave it at that.
Oh my god. I was gonna ask you that too. Okay, so what we're gonna do next, we're gonna go through some of your early work, then we're gonna take a break, and then we're gonna go with some of your YouTube stuff. So why don't we go head over there right now? First couple of things. So obviously we were talking about, you know, kids trying to be connected with people and trying to, you know, go to school and all that stuff. But you, sir, you went also, you know, you had to take care of yourself. Now, being, you know, into the gunpla hobby, like, what was your journey like getting into it? What started it? What retained you into the hobby?
It's interesting because I actually built my first kit when I was like in elementary school, and my first kit was actually given to me as a gift from a exchange student that was living with my grandparents at the time. And when he was living with them, he was going to school, he was learning English and things like that. And so my sister would take him around the house and point to different things and teach him English. And I talked to him about this new cool TV show that I saw that's called Gundam Wing. And I'm like, I don't know, have you ever heard of it? And he's like, yeah, I've heard of it. And so as a thank you, he sent me my first kit, which was the Shenlong Gundam. And I, as the child who doesn't know any better about model kits, I literally snap pieces off the runners and snap the whole thing together. No tools, nothing, just twisting them off the runners.
Oh, you did that too. So I did that. I could totally relate. And I'm like, when you rip it, you see the rip mark, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll put it together anyway.
And so that was the first model kit that I built, and I had so much fun with it that when he called to come talk to my grandma, say thank you. She's like, oh, do you want to thank him for the model kit? And I'm like, hey, can you send me another one? And she's like, you don't ask him that. But so I built for a while, and then about high school I kind of stopped again. But then I want to say about 2017 or so, when I was starting my program for Chaminade, my master's degree program, I was walking by a store and I saw this kit, and this was the kit that I've always wanted but never had as a kid. So the second I walked by the store, I walked in, I'm like, I stopped, looked at it, and I walked in, I'm like, I want that. Can I just buy that one right there? And they're like, we have another one back there. I'm like, just give me.
I'm gonna walk away with this now. Here's the money.
I'm gonna buy it. I don't care. I'd buy it. So I bought it, and this time I actually, bought tools for it. I bought nippers. I had a hobby knife that I used, and then I had like a nail buffer that I used to clean up some of the nub marks and things like that. And so
gun primer buffers, guys, just plugging it there. We've been using this in the last couple of shows, and I love the hell out of it. But I mean, yeah, these buffers makes a whole big difference in finishing your kit, especially if it's just a snap build.
Yeah, I gotta try one of those, by the way. I've been looking to pick up some, but anyway, I built this with like just the tools that like the store had, and I had a couple of like the Gundam markers to kind of fill in the blacks and things like that. And this is the first time I've actually ever really put that much effort into a kit, and I was just so blown away by how much fun I had with it that I just like like singing it to all my friends. I'm like, oh my god, this thing is so cool. I'm like, babe, look at it, look, this part opens up. Look at all this. Look at all these missiles, they open up. And I was so happy with it that I just like, that kind of really got me back into building back in 2017. And so that was kind of my first build.
This is the no grade 1100, or is this the master grade?
Yeah, this is the no grade 1100.
No grade 100.
The old one, 1997.
Oh my god, like this is one of my earlier builds too. And again, I'm just so forgetful sometimes, but like I too could relate with the whole, oh my god, look at all those rockets that are actually there. Okay, so you didn't stop there though, like you continued on. The next kit over here is the Zaku. How long between that and the other one, or how many kits have you built since being obviously fallen in love back into the hobby again?
So actually, after I bought the heavy arms, I built a red frame Astray, the real grade, and that one, it was okay, and I was kind of disappointed because it was a 1/144th scale, the smaller one, and I was just kind of like, I kind of want something bigger. And so I went to another store and I saw like this big box, and I was like, what scale is that? He's like 1/100. I'm like, I'll take it. And this is, I didn't know as much about Gunpla and things like that at the time, and so I didn't realize what a master grade was. All I knew was that it's bigger. Okay, I'll take it. And so this one, actually, I started back in about 2017, 2018. There was a break when I started my schooling work that I didn't have a chance to build. And so by about, I want to say late 2018, I finished this one. And that was my first master grade. And
okay.
Like I've never built a master grade before. And it was a lot more work, but just all the additional details, like when you turn the head, the eye moves. I'm like, oh my God, all this detail is so cool. And that's when I was like, okay, master grade. I can do master grades. All right, I can do master grades, But just like, I think it's because I didn't have that understanding of what a master grade was, that I didn't have that fear of putting it together.
Nice. So just kind of like went at it and like, you know what? This is like the last kit, right? Okay, chop, chop, chop.
Yeah.
And then Nice. And is this the original colors, or did you paint this?
No, that's the original colors. It was a premium band. I didn't know what P-Bandai was either at the time when I started.
I was gonna say this is not your regular release, because like I haven't seen this color out here, so that's cool. Oh my God. So we're back onto the wing. Actually, no. Let's go back to the Zaku real quick here.
Yeah.
So after building your first master grade, what were your thoughts?
I was a little exhausted after I finished it, but I was extremely happy with the size of it. So I was like, I am happy with kind of like the overall size. The difficulty, I think at that time for me, I think it was because there was a lot of breaks in between build sessions, because I had school, I had my internship and things like that. So I got busy. I didn't just sit down and build it like I did a lot of the other model kits that I've done before. And since then, like I could crank those out like in like a few days.
This was
over a couple of months.
This was over a couple of months.
Well, because I was still getting started, I'll build for like a couple hours, then I'll stop and go back to doing life stuff, and then like when I have time again, I sit down, I build for an hour or two, and then I go back to doing life stuff. And so in kind of that pattern, this one took a lot longer because I haven't built a master grade before and I didn't know what to expect. But since then, getting more used to builds, having more time, and again, fiance who's just like, if this, you want to go build, if it makes you happy, go do it, so her support is really helping.
That's so awesome. And it looks like it was a fun build, because like I have not built this one yet. This is the high mobility type. This looks like a 2.0 frame as well, and this is me analyzing it like, well, that looks like there's a hyper pump gate over there with like a next kit over here. This is an awesome kit. I love this kit, by the way. It's one of my favorites as well. This is the Death Sight Hell custom. So what do we got here, man?
So this is also the no grade 1/100 Death Scythe Hell, and this was another one of those kits that I was like, I want it. I saw it and I'm like, I am buying that. So I actually bought the heavy arms and the Death Scythe at the same time, and I built the heavy arms first, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna save the Death Scythe till I got a little bit better. And so after I had built the heavy arms, after I built the Zaku, I built one other kit, which will come up later, which was the RX-78. I went back and I did this no grade 1/100, and from just kind of like, I don't know if it's as detailed as much, but when I compared the heavy arms to the Death Scythe, I can really see how far I've come. And what I really enjoyed was that I could see myself just looking from kit to kit. I'm like, I'm getting better. I'm getting better, And so I just started to take this, and I was just like, how far can I go? What can I do next? What else can I learn? And so I started working on taking pictures of my kits, posing them. I don't have a photo booth, and so literally the background that it's in is actually a bunch of like gym flooring, like those puzzle.
Oh wow! Okay, yeah.
Hey, I made a little corner, and it just like, it was like a nice little gray, like a dark gray backdrop. And so I was just kind of like, okay. And so like, again, this is my first time taking kits with a camera. All the other thing up until now have been like snapped with my phone. And so I'm like, okay, let's have some fun with this. Let's start taking some like legitimate pictures. And like, even looking back through the pictures that I've taken from then up until now, like I've seen so much growth. And I think just like having fun with it is what really drives me to continue to want to do it, because if it's not fun, there's no point in doing it.
Yeah, but absolutely. Right.
This whole journey has been nothing but fun. And so I just continue to do it, and I'm continuing to love it,
Awesome. And again, the same backdrop here, but with a newer kit. This is definitely a master grade Barbados.
Yes,
I love
it
that,
is.
the kit out of this one. Oh man, what do you think of the Barbados, man?
I loved it. I was hesitant and scared because it was a master grade again. But as soon as I started putting like the inner frame together and just seeing how detailed that inner frame was, I was blown away. I'm like, yo, this kit is good. Look, when you move it, like the piston, like I was like, oh, and I was just like sitting there, like moving, like, oh,
Let's ask the audience tonight, like, who here loves the Barbados? Let me know, and why is the Barbados the most awesomest badass kit ever? That's great. Now, obviously, sorry, let's just go back to the Barbados real quick. So master grade again. This is still not painted, but like you're obviously getting more and more into it. Like I guess the next evolution to that would be like painting stuff, right?
Yes. And so actually what I had done was I had asked a friend who I knew had an airbrush, and he was using it to paint like miniatures. And I'm like, hey, do you think you can kind of show me and see? Because actually, like when you go back to the heavy arms, and like when I was at that point in my head, I literally told myself, I am never painting gunplay ever. that seems like a lot of work. That's not what I want to do at this time. And at the time, that was what I felt. But as time went on, I'm like, man, I want to paint him now.
Awesome. So the next couple of photos here, some spoon tests.
Yes.
Is this your first time using the airbrush?
This was my first time using my airbrush. So I went to my friend's house. He kind of mixed the paint, and he's like, okay, here, practice doing this. But this was the first time where I sat down. I'm like, I'm going to mix my own paints. I'm going to like balance my own PSI. I'm going to practice. And like, as you could see here, like I went to town practicing. I just did everything. Like you can see like the different levels of quality, because like all the gray spoons are gunmetal. All the yellow spoons are like a desert tan that I had. And I knew yellow was a hard color to get because everyone keeps saying like the pigments are a little bit difficult. So I was like, okay.
Oh man, we have a whole session about like how difficult yellow, red. Oh, what was that other one that was blue? Not so much. I think the most forgiving, I think, is blue, black, white, depending on the color. But it comes down to the primer. But yeah, like tan has a little bit of yellow, but obviously not as dense or like as cumbersome as the yellow.
Yeah, and so it came down to like, do I have good coverage? Do I have like, is it like an even coverage throughout? Because for a while, like I was like getting like, you could see like my brush strokes, even like in the airbrush, like the part where like I'd stop and then continue going back the other direction. You can see where it paused and turned back. So it's like, okay, whole piece. And so just like each spoon, I progressively got better. I could see what I did wrong and continued to get better, to the point where I finally was like, okay, I think I'm ready for my first, paint on like a kit.
There's a question here from Ben Voigt. He's asking, what paints did you start with this set here?
So I was scared. I was kind of nervous of using lacquers because I had heard like, oh, they're toxic, you got to make sure. And so I was like, you know what, just to be safe, I'll start with Tamiya acrylics. And so the gunmetal is the Tamiya gunmetal, and the yellow is actually Vallejo. And so my friend who taught me how to airbrush, he had Vallejo because he was using it for his miniatures. So I was like, all right, fine, I can learn on that. And so I started off with the Vallejo and Tamiyas, and like I had a lot of fun with it, and learning how to mix my own paint and getting it to like where I got comfortable. And like I was watching a lot of videos like about airbrushing, and I'm just like, okay, I'm kind of understanding it now. And so we got to the point where I finally felt comfortable enough to paint my first kit.
Did you purchase your own airbrush? Did you get your whole? Are you still sharing with your friend right now?
So I bought my own compressor and airbrush at the same time. I got lucky in that there was a lady that was selling an airbrush set, and she used it for like graphic design and things like that. And she's just like, it's not for me, it works fine and everything. So I went over, I met it. I got the Badger TC 910, I think it's called.
Badgers are fine. I like it. I like that. Nice selection. Yeah.
And so I got that compressor, and I got the she had some siphon feed brushes, and I was like, I went out and bought an Iwata Neo, and that has been my brush up until about the Penelope that I did, which we'll get to later. But that's what I used to practice, and that's what I actually used for this RX-78, the Verka.
This awesome. So this is the Verka RX-78. Is this the same one that you got from Japan? Yes,
this is the one that I brought home from Japan. So I had snapped it up and I was kind of looking at it and I'm like, like the Verka, like when growing up with Wing and seeing like such like over the top designs, like the RX-78 for me was like, it was kind of plain and it was kind of very generic. And I was just like, okay, well, if I mess this up, I'm not going to be too upset about it. And so that's kind of what gave me the idea, like, you know what, just go have fun on this kit, go to town, go paint it and things like that. And I kind of came up with like a color scheme of like a cold gray, a red, and like a gunmetal. And so I was just kind of fooling around. There's no color theory behind it. This was just like, I think this would look cool, let's try it. And I had fun with it. I had a lot of fun with it, and it came out a lot better than I was expecting. And I was just so proud of it that I'm just like, yeah, I can see myself doing this for other kids.
Oh, awesome. And you did too. We're gonna get to a lot more of that. Awesome paint job of this. So some of the things also, like, were you scared on your first paint job by yourself? Like, this is obviously now hands-free. This is a live round that you're playing with.
Yeah, I was actually scared, kind of nervous going into it, because I'm just like, I kind of have my paints down. I kind of have like my mixes down. I was still using rattle can primer at the time because I wasn't comfortable enough mixing my own primer. But I progressed when I felt comfortable. Like I moved on, like from here, like this.
I've switched to I've always spray canned my primer, but the Vallejo primer has been now my go-to. There's I've shown this other video, so I'm totally like taking over your spot. You're just talking about cans.
It's fine.
There shouldn't be no judgment if you're using cans or airbrush. It's whatever you're comfortable with, and that's something that you guys have to keep in mind. So anyways, just a quick plug, Vallejo primer, really cool.
And I'd recommend, if you don't have a friend that has an airbrush and you want to try painting your kids, I definitely recommend buying cans. The short term, like if you're thinking about getting into it long term, an airbrush is going to be a better investment. But if you're not sure you want to paint kids, start with rattle cans. See if it's something that you like. You like the process of priming, painting, and then putting it all back together. And so actually thinking back to this kit, I actually didn't even prime this one. This is all just paint on plastic.
Hey, it works. It looks beautiful. I was telling too, it's like, when I first saw it, I'm like, what is that? Is that a GM? It's like, no, it's the Verka RX. I'm like, oh, okay. I see the shoulders now, and then I see the feet, and I'm like, good job. It made it totally, the colors make the things totally different from its original once you start doing custom on it. So good job on that, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. And again, since then, it's just been like, okay, I'm painting kids now.
Awesome. Guys, more to come here with Taz all the way from Hawaii. Thank you for joining us tonight, both on YouTube and Twitch. I'm just going to read off a couple of comments here. Let's see. Let's go to Twitch real quick. Well, back to work for me. See y'all. Oh, bye, Tigress. Enjoy work.
Thanks for the sub.
Yep, and let's see, Mech God, have you been able to turn friends into the hobby? Ooh, that's a good question. Have you been able to influence others and get them into the hobby as well?
I actually got a friend into building model kits, and it actually wasn't the Gundam model kits. He got into a lot of the frame arms girls and the what are they called? The Megami devices and things like that. And so like I kind of told him what I was doing, and he was like, when he first started, he was nonstop messaging me on Facebook, and he's like, I'm so sorry for bothering. I'm like, no, dude, let's talk. I'm totally down to help you.
Yes.
Like he was asking questions. He actually put water slide decals on before I was even comfortable ready to do them, and he killed it, But just like, yeah, I was able to turn somebody and get them into model kits, and so I was so happy. And every time he posts up and he like shares with me, I'm always happy. And so like if you look at my YouTube, I'm always saying like, hey, if you got an Instagram, share it with me. I want to see what you're up to. I love seeing it. And even Facebook, like if you see my posts, just like, hey, just like drop down, share what you're building with me. I want to know what you're up to. I just love seeing everybody because I just like supporting everybody. I'm like, I mentioned this before to somebody else, but I'm like your biggest hype man. I just want to see you succeed. I want to see whatever you come up with. I want you to succeed. I want you to be happy. That's all I want.
That is awesome. I love the vibe on that, and I totally relate with that, man. Awesome. Again, hype friend right here, Taz. Let's just continue on with the rest of the comments here. I'm going to finish off Twitch, and we're going to go to YouTube, and then we're going to take a quick break. Let's see. Yeah, we've all done it before, where we snap it off from the kit. Is that the 1/100 kit? Yes, it was. I think all these are 1/100 kits. Quinn is saying, the first master grade is such an experience. So great. Especially guys, if you guys have not built the master grade, cherish that moment. I wish I could relive that moment and feel the first time I touched the master grade. My first master grade was the 1.0 Shin Matsunuga Zaku. That's from Hero. I think I was 9. Oh, OG right there. Quinn is saying, I've been putting off getting the MG Barb for so long. I think the time is coming soon. Yeah, well, come on, let's get it, man. If you get one, I'll get one. Actually, I'll probably get like 2 more because I have the expansion set, and then I got.
Hey, me too. I have the expansion like right up there. It's in my videos.
Dude, we should totally do a synchronized building, man. Oh wait, did you build the? Yeah, if you haven't built it yet, let's do that, man.
Yeah.
I love building. I guess for me oh, hang on. I love building it. I guess for me it was all the pistons as well. Yes, absolutely. DT Warrior is saying I love the Barbados just cause I also have on the backlog. Oh. I love that cold gray Vallejo somber gray. That's a question from Quinn.
Yeah, that was I believe that was the yeah, I think that was the somber. Wow. Yeah, that was a somber gray.
Yeah, so he paints miniatures as well, so good job on that.
It's impressive.
Ayo, that is from Gunpla Ghost joining us over at Twitch. Now let's go over to YouTube. Guys, you guys are all freaking on fire tonight with the chat, loving it. Let's see here. Barbados expansion parts is the best. It's fun to build Gunpla, the official slogan from Bandai. That is from Tetsu. But I still like Form 4 when it comes not into mixing and matching. Form 4 was good. I think Form 6 was one of my favorite ones. Anything from Lupus, I think is a pretty good one. Neon is saying, still working on my custom Barbados. Can't decide on arms and weapons. Aiming to have somewhat Demonic Knight. Okay, that's cool. But still Gundam-esque, not sure which arms to use, 4th form or the Haijiroboshi. The Haijiroboshi has a really cool arm that has like that flip thing, and I think you could do a really cool custom with that one. I got a total of 3 Barbados, the high grades and a pair of master grade forms. That is from Merc, Form 4 MG, and Mix the Match from 5 and 6. Awesome stuff. Let's skip down a little bit. Let's see. The wrench is heavy as sin, as there ain't much one could do with it. Yeah, like the wrench weapon is pretty heavy. The Penelope build video is pretty ASMR, and that is from Tetsu. I guess that's from your Penelope video. My entry was all rattle can as well. Again, rattle cans are fine to use, guys. Do not be scared of whatever you could get your hands at disposal, but don't be scared to try. I think the important part here is to try and get your feet wet. I plan on having the 6th form next to my 4th form. Let's see here. My first MG was Victory Gundam Verka. Loved it until the MG Barbados came along. That is awesome. All right, guys. We're joined tonight by Taz Gample, aka Plamo Therapist. We're gonna be right back after this commercial, so stick around. More with Taz, and we're gonna talk about his YouTube stuff right after this. So yeah, check this out. We'll be right back. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to the stream, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the show so far. I just want to let you guys know about an amazing online community that I am part of, and it's called Side 6. Here you will find like-minded modelers and hobbyists who enjoy the mecha and gunpla genre. We encourage posting of whips, projects, and tutorials to help each other move forward in our hobby and in our community. We are always open to new members of all skill levels, so come check us out at facebook.com/groups/side6. We also have an Instagram where we feature members' works, and you can find that at instagram.com/side6_mecha. For all new club information, resources, and news, you could check out our website at www.side6.club. All right, let's get back to the show and see what's going on there. Hey, good evening, guys. My name is Ariel. You're watching AO Mecha Live. Tonight we have Taz Gample, aka Plamo Therapist, joining us. But before we get back to him, I just want to say thank you to everybody that's joining us tonight. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, follow, share. Did I say like and share and follow? But share again, just in case you want to follow and follow some more. That would be. You don't have to do any of that. I just want to say hi to you guys. I love you guys. All right, let's go back to Taz and see what he's saying here. Oh, look at that. Owen unfollowed and then followed the channel again. Thanks, Owen. I appreciate that. Okay, if you say so. I love these guys. The people that are in the show, both in the audience and on the show, are amazing people. You guys rock. You guys keep the show being amazing as it is. So thank you guys for tuning in. I got joined us here, Taz. Welcome back. We're gonna be looking at some of your next ventures. But before we get to that, Hero unfollowed and followed again. Thanks, Hero. Really appreciate that. Okay, where was I? Now I lost my train of thought. So before we get to the next chapter, obviously people know you through your new contents through social media, both in YouTube and on Instagram. Now, what got you doing more so in content creating, and what type of like themes that you were like targeting to when you started this adventure?
It was really interesting because I was kind of just at a point where I'm like, I don't like I enjoyed what I was doing at the school, but I just felt like there was something missing and I wanted to do something more. And I kind of got into this idea where it's like, I'm wondering if I can like do like stream builds or something like that, just kind of as a fun side project. And I was kind of looking into doing Twitch and things like that. And I was kind of doing some research and I was just like, I think it's hard. Like Twitch has been around for so long that it's hard to be found on Twitch. And so anyone who does that, hats off to you. You put in the work, you are who you are today because of all the hard work you put in. And so for me, it was just like, I don't think I'm ready for Twitch just yet. Maybe that might be something down the line, but I came around to doing the idea of YouTube, and it was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna be as good as like people out there like Studio Gundam or like EA Gunpla. These are some guys that I watch, and I'm just like, they're so far into the game, like I can't compare where I'm at right now to where they are. But what can I do to set myself apart? And it was really kind of thinking about deep down, reflecting on where I can take this. And it was just kind of like this weird thought that I had in my head while I was driving home one day. It's like, I can combine building model kits and mental health. And just kind of thinking, I'm like, okay, well, what are some of the topics I could come up with, And it was kind of interesting because my channel didn't start off right away in the mental health. It started off with just kind of some build videos, just me getting comfortable being in front of camera. And it actually wasn't until a couple of videos back that I actually started the mental health side, because it was like, I didn't want to just bombard people right off the bat with mental health things, especially if they're not ready for it, And I think we'll talk about it later, one of my videos, people aren't ready for it. But as I started to build the channel, I can slowly start to tie in some of the mental health aspects. And I think, now where I'm at with a lot of the videos that I've been putting out, people have been, mixed reception to the mental health side of it. A lot of people are like, wow, it's so cool to see this, and a lot of people are just like, nope, they're not ready for it yet. And that's okay. If you're not ready for it, you don't have to watch my videos, that's fine. But when you're ready and you want to talk and learn about a lot of these things, my videos are there for you, and you can always come back and watch them.
Speaking of videos, the first slide that we have here, and you sent me some really cool slides too, and really good topic to start off from. Keep fighting. That was one of the messages that I think resonated, especially when I was looking through your videos, that I think that's the most powerful impact. But from your, obviously your POV and your take on things, like, why keep fighting? What is keep fighting mean to you?
So this video came out because at that time, my computer, like my hard drive, just died on me, and my computer wouldn't turn on, and I was just having trouble with it. And I'm just like trying to figure out, and in my head, I'm like, I am not gonna miss an upload. I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna make it happen. And I felt like giving it just that real feel to it. I turned it on and I started recording. I watched it back, and I was just like, I'm not gonna edit this. I'm gonna put it up as is. And I just wanted to share the message, like, even when things are getting difficult, even when things are getting hard, don't give up. Yes. It's good, it's fun when life is easy, but when life is hard, that's when we develop the most. And for me to just kind of just keep trying and figuring it out, so eventually I figured out that if I just pulled that hard drive out and put in a new one, that it would be fine. And I had lost basically all of my old previous video footage, but I'm just like, oh man, you know what, I'm glad that my computer is working, because I can continue to make new stuff for you guys. And yeah, the old stuff it's up there on YouTube, it's out there already. I don't mind if I lose it. Yeah, sure, there's some sentimental value attached to all the hours of footage that I had, but ultimately that it's about me being able to continue to move forward for you guys. And so the reason I hit this first was because this is I think it's my favorite video, because it really made me feel like, I came through for my viewers when, like I felt like at where I'm at right now, I'm not even at 1,000 subscribers yet, but dude, I wanted to let them know.
You're so gonna get there so fast, man. I hope you guys, if you have not, check out Plamo Therapist YouTube, subscribe, because the messages, and I'm so looking forward to all your next videos, because like every one of them that's come out has that message that I think everybody needs to hear. I tried doing that with a coffee break, but obviously it's just like so much happening on my end that I can't focus and just do it. It is still something I want to do, and that's something I wanted to discuss with you after the show, because I think I could see future collaboration. I'm just gonna toss it there real quick. Uh, but keep fighting. Again, guys, it's a good reminder that, like, you know what, like, yeah, tough times ahead, and you know, tough times don't last. Tough people do. So keep at it, right?
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. So what was it like? Okay, starting out your YouTube. What are some of the stuff that you need to go through as, like, you know, like kind of hurdles that you had to like overcome?
The first thing was being comfortable talking to the camera. I am still getting used to it. I'm still getting better at it. The hardest problem was that, you know, when I have a show like this, when I'm talking to you, I can bounce off of your energy. I can feed off of you. But when you're sitting there and you're recording a video to a camera, there's just, I lose that personal interaction, and I started to get nervous. And so if you actually watch a lot of my first videos, I am rapid fire, and people have been telling me like, dude, you need to slow down.
Yeah.
But in that, it was really good, because instead of just being like, oh, people don't like my videos, I just give up. I took it as like, hey, thanks for taking the time to help me to get better. You know, you could have just thumbs down and moved on with your life, but you took the time to tell me how I can improve. And thank you. That means a lot to me, because you didn't have to do that, but you took the time to do it. And I'm going to honor your time and take that feedback and get better. And I've had a couple people come back saying like, hey, you're slowed down, you know, you're more easier, it's easier for you to follow. Somebody said, hey, your intro music's way too loud. I'm like, all right, bring it down, fix it, put it out there. And they came back and he's like, good job, you fixed it. And I'm like, great. And so this entire thing has been a learning experience, you know. And I think, you know, when I think back of like my first couple of edits of videos that I did, like it took me hours, like days to edit just like one video. And as time has gone on, I started to get smarter about filming ahead of time, filming different segments, understanding how it's going to look in post. And so taking care of it in the pre-production, so that when I get to post-production, it's a little bit easier.
Absolutely. And those are some of the stuff I'm still learning, but I'm glad, you know, you're taking the step, you're just going for it. And that is really, really awesome. Guys, if you guys are ever thinking of doing some YouTube stuff, hit the sky up, because like you guys are probably getting the same journey. Why Gunpla? Why Gunpla is the next topic here, but like, why Gunpla?
So this video for me was reminding myself why I got back into the hobby in general, right? And it kind of brought me back to why I started my channel, because I went from doing a couple builds to doing reviews, and I was like, okay, wait, I need to get back to what my channel was about. And that's kind of what this video was. It was me getting back to what my channel was initially about. Why do we build Gunpla? Well, a lot of it comes down to that when we're building, and I think a lot of people, this resonated with a lot of people, is that in the time that we sit down, we crack open that box, we start taking pieces out, cutting them off the runners, sanding, you know, snapping the pieces together. Our mind isn't focused on the rest of the world that's going on around us. It's focused on this little kid in front of us. And what people don't realize is that break that we get from all the other stresses in our world is powerful. It helps our brains to, you know, we release cortisol throughout our day. That's our stress hormone. But by sitting down and building these kits and taking time not focus on those things, right, our brain can start to clear out some of that cortisol. We can return back to a baseline where we're more comfortable, so that when something happens, we don't get overstressed or we don't get overworked. And it helps us to come back down to what we call a homeostasis, or a baseline. And so by building model kits, it just helps us to get back to that baseline. Like that was the biggest message I took, that I wanted to get out in that video. On top of that, you know, we have that piece where when we finish it, we can put it up on our shelf and we can be proud of it. You know, that's something I mentioned in my most recent video. It's just like, you know, we get that reward, that satisfaction of, you know, when we finish that kit, it rewards us. Oh, we feel so good about it. And when we put it up on our shelf and we look at it, we can remind ourselves like, oh, I'm so proud of that kit, you know? And
reflecting back on the time you were building, because like, one, you're having fun. Number two, it was like the world is like so far away that this is the only thing that mattered at the time. A sense of calmness, if you will. Nice. And then the third thing too is like the one thing that I found really big about this hobby was that like before I got into doing YouTube and Instagram, I wasn't on Facebook or Instagram very much posting anything. Like I think between a couple of posts, it's been like a year or two. Like if I look back on my personal Instagram, like there's like gaps where I just didn't post anything. And it's just like, it was like my private life. And I was just like, I'm just doing my thing. Right. And when I found out like there was all these Gunpla groups and I joined it, it's just like, wow, like this hobby can connect you to so many people. Like,
like if I didn't join any of those groups, I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't be here today because I wouldn't have made those social connections that I did in these groups. And so like that's just so powerful because you being like half a world away, there's never a chance that you and I will cross paths unless somehow, some way you and I are both at that Gundam statue trying to lick it together. But like there's never a chance that we're ever gonna
We gotta have eye contact when we do that though, right? You're on the opposite side, I'm on the opposite side, and you're like here, and I do the little wink. That's when you know.
We have a moment.
So your channel is not just obviously like all about mental health. You also have some tutorials in there. This one here is like build this with this. So what? I love this, by the way. So for those of you guys starting out, like no, you shouldn't. But this video says you can. What are we looking at here, Taz?
So this was my first video, and for me, kind of starting off a little bit of mental health is that like not everybody's gonna be able to have access to nippers. They're not gonna have access to tools, sanding, things like that. But what everyone might have lying around the house is a set of nail clippers, And for me, the point of this video is just to show that like while it was kind of a fun challenge for me to build it using only nail clippers, nothing else. It's to show that if there is a will, there is a way. And so if you want to build plasma model kits, if you're perfectly fine snapping them off the runners like I was when I was younger, go for it. If you're happy with that, do it. I have no judgment against you. Your work does not affect me. If you're proud of your work, great. I'm proud for you because you're proud, right? But if you want to take it a step further and you want to try like, okay, I can't, like, especially for like kids who want to get into this hobby,
yes,
they don't have the money to go out and buy nippers all the time, but they can run in and be like, hey mom, can I borrow the nail clippers for a little bit? They could probably get something like that and maybe go from twisting them off the runners to now they can kind of clip them off a little bit, And so this video was just kind of my start of the journey, just getting used to it and just trying to put something out there that was a little bit different. And this video surprisingly has actually got a lot more views than I thought it was going to. I think it's got a couple hundred into it, And so that was like really just like that video, just me getting into the YouTube game, and that was my first video.
I'm so happy that you're happy about being happy about happy videos. So
yeah,
the whole theme on this is great. You have a great smile and happy face, by the way. that is, I'm very very envious of like how bright and shining this is. Now let's circle back on tools and resources real quick. Good point that you touched base there, because like not everybody, this hobby is not cheap. It can be,
not.
But that's kind of lying in a way, because like you do need the resources, you do need the time, you do need certain things to elevate. No, you don't need all of them, but definitely it is not. I want to like get that stigma that it is not a cheap hobby. It can be pricey, and just make sure you have resources for it. The thing is, like, I think once you have the resources for it, you'll be a little bit more calmer and excited about getting into the hobby, because you're not worrying about lack of resources or like keeping up with the Joneses kind of deal with like, oh, that guy has a new kit, I'm gonna get my new kit too, etc. And I'm talking about the younger folks, and I've seen this before, where someone would post, oh, I got this, and then the next guy's like, oh yeah, I have it too, and then the next guy's like, well, I have this. But like you don't know what's going on behind you guys. Take care of yourselves first before the hobby. And I think that's also some of the stuff that you were talking about in your videos, or more on the later side. Now, so was this a successful run with the nippers, by the way? With your, I don't think I saw that one, but like that's the one with the nail clippers. Did you do one kit with the nail cutter?
I completely built Barbados Lupus Rex, the HG. He was 100% nail clippers.
Okay,
that's
so
it.
it's
like nothing
it's
else.
not this guy here, but like
that's
okay,
not this. That's
okay.
That's the master grade.
Master grade.
Barbados, yeah. And so yeah.
Nice. Oh, okay, guys, check that out. I'm gonna have to see that later on. Let's do a quick read. I just want to say hi to everybody joining us as well on YouTube and Twitch. On YouTube, let's see here. I get what you mean. That's why I also like MGs. I hate stickers as much as I hate taxes. Okay. Tetsu is saying computers aren't all that reliable. The frustration can be real, but no need to put tantrum since everything has a solution. That's going back to your original video, with you losing it. Oh, Choco Falcon is here. David Liu has joined us today. Done with the follow, cool stuff. Oh man, guys, also check out Choco Falcon. He's doing some new stuff with his Instagram that I'm really liking. So check him out. And also his YouTube channel. David is an awesome builder. Merk is saying, for the route I've taken, I have no more time, about 48 hours, that backlog at a time. I find time to build all the time before it grows any bigger. Yeah, I guess take care of your backlogs. Obviously, don't get it don't get it too loose out there. Let's reading down a little bit here. Merc is saying if it grows any larger on my watch, I plow all of it, reminding myself if I don't. Okay, so yeah, take care of your backlogs. Monkey Baby is saying lick it together in quotations. Yeah. And depending how close we are, we might have to like hold hands. You know what I mean? Like, anyways.
So that's my fiance. I don't know if she's really on board with it, but she's being supportive. So thanks, babe.
I'm supportive if she's supportive, and we're gonna try to make that happen. To Taz, I build Gunpla for similar reasons. Another reason is to be proud of something I made. Also feels great when others compliment my work, even if some are just straight builds, and that's from Neon Wave. Absolutely. That's another thing too. Like, we're gonna get to that in a little bit. I think we should talk about as well as kind of like, you know, elitism and beginners, and that is that could be a topic on its own, to be honest. But we're gonna touch base on that a little bit later. Let's go to Twitch real quick. On Twitch, we see Ariel, I need to hit you up with some time to advise on how to start streaming so I can share my GT Sport races on Twitch, maybe with Hero. I haven't touched GT Sport in a while. Okay, yeah, we could talk about that for sure. Let's see here. Plamo Builder in a virtual car. Hey, maybe. You gotta link wherever you want to stream onto your PS4. Okay, yeah, there's a whole bunch of steps that we could have to go through that. Quinn here is saying there's such dedication to both the fans and the process. Big ups to you, Taz. That's from Quinn.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I've also streamed a bit on Cyberpunk 2077 on Twitch. That's from Hero. That hit of dopamine and serotonin, I guess that's what we were talking about earlier on. When you're buying your kit, you're completing your kit, that whole satisfactory and, you know, I guess that winning feeling, right? Quinn is saying, damn son, with the scientific backing to go with it. Yeah.
And that's kind of just like giving them, like, you know, it's not just me spouting just like my personal opinion. I want to give people the realization, like, no, there's science behind it. Like, if you feel good because you're building a kit, there's science behind that. There's a reason why it feels good.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get back to this. High grade Penelope full build video. Why do you love this video? What is up with the Penelope, man? I haven't built this yet.
I love this kit because it hit all of my boxes. It is a giant kit.
Okay.
It is extremely well engineered for a high grade kit. You know, I mean, I posted a couple pictures before, but like, this thing is like as big, if not a little bit bigger than Barbados himself. And he's a master grade, you know, 1/100 scale. This is 1/144th. But this was the culmination of everything that I have learned up until now. So this was like me putting everything that I've learned into one kit and into one build. And so, like, I was just so proud of how well it turned out, because everything that I've done, everything that I've put into it, I just learned so much for it. And actually, this was the first kit that I've ever used water slides on. And so after building for like, building for years, I decided, like, okay, you know what? I gotta, the only way to learn to do it is to do it. So I gotta do it. So I gotta try my first water slide. And so I finally decided, okay, I'm gonna start with a little caution, like one of those really tiny ones that, like, if I lose it, I don't care about it, right? So I dipped it in water, you know, I get the piece, I'm like, okay, it's gonna go right there. So I line it up, I slide it off, I roll it out, and I'm like, well, that was so easy. What was I so worried about?
That I love that completing sensation. You're like, okay, is it gonna work? Is it gonna work? Let's take a look at some of your water slides here. Amazing application. And again, if for those of you guys who have not water slide, it is so much fun. A couple of tips on that one: if you use like lukewarm to approaching hot water, it takes it out faster. The decal. Also, if you have access to microsol and microset, very, very helpful, especially when you're doing curved surfaces. Don't forget to gloss coat some more, and then maybe whatever top coat finish you're gonna need, because the gloss will hide all that extra outline border of your decals. So now that you've had a taste of decals, what are some of your lessons learned that you could tell our audience as well from your experience, being that it's like your first time doing it?
First thing, don't be afraid. They're decals, and honestly, like, because they're so small and they're such a minor detail, that even if you mess up a decal, you're not going to mess up a kit, right? And just have fun with it. Remember, you're doing this because it's fun. If you're stressed about it and you're not ready for it, you're not ready. That's okay. But when you feel like you're ready to take on that challenge, it's really not a challenge. But if you feel like you're ready to try water slide decals, just go for it. I'd say start with all the tiny little ones and save those big ones for when you're like, okay, I'm gonna stop for tonight. So let's do a nice big one. Just like, yeah. Like when I did that one on the leg, the unit number on that leg, that piece, I
Yes,
was just
yeah.
like, yeah, that's so cool. And I finished that kit. I finished that piece with the water slide decal, and then I just left it right there in the middle of my build area. So when I came back the next day, I'm like, yeah, that looks so good.
That is awesome. I love decaling too, but I could spend a whole day in one kit, literally the whole day just decaling, because like I'm very meticulous on where they come from. And also I have kind of a scarce number of decals right now because I haven't replenished my supplies yet. There was a question here from Gunpla Go. So what brand of water slides were used here?
These are the G reworks.
Ooh.
Majin, I bought these from Majin Hobby because I wanted to test out. I haven't bought from them before. So I was like, oh, I'll look at see what they had, and I was like, oh, they have one for the Penelope. Like, let's just try it. And those were the first water slide decals I ever bought. Then after I finished that, I went back to like my local store down the hill, and I'm just like, okay, I want water slides for the wing. I want water slides for the heavy arms. I want water slides for the Strike Freedom, and then I think I got a couple more. But I just went to the store and just bought a whole bunch of water slides because I'm like, I'm done. I'm sold. Let's get them.
Pro tip, guys, you can never have enough water slides. So if you
Never.
have the resources, I'd say have that in your arsenal, because like it elevates the kit to a point where it's like you don't necessarily have to paint it, but it's an art on its own. Decal placement is that next level of artistic I guess addition to your piece already that I can't stress enough. I wish I need to actually replenish some of my decals, but good job on that. And it's pretty big, as you mentioned, like with all the colors as well being separated and all that stuff. You airbrush this as well. What paints are you using now for this?
These were actually, so there's two separate types of paints. For all the metallic parts, I used Alclad. I wanted to just kind of test out and see what they were. And I feel so bad because when I actually was painting them all, I used like their chrome. But I didn't do like a full mirror chrome. I just kind of made it so that it was like a really high shine by putting some Gaia Notes primer down first, and then the base black, and then the chrome. So it's got a really high shine, but you can't see it. There's like no parts of the metallic kits that are showing. So if you actually go back to the close up on the face, that's like the only picture. A couple pictures back, that's the only time you can actually see like the. I was gonna say, don't you have?
Oh, you want to see the reflection of metallic? 1 second, guys. Let's take a look at that.
Right there. So down there at the bottom. No, down there at the bottom. Like scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Right there, that little shiny part in the corner. Other side. Right there, there's in the middle.
What? Oh, this?
That shine right there. That's the metallic. That's the only part that I can see.
Oh, that is awesome. This is still on my to get kit. I'm actually waiting for the two set, the Penelope and the Sai, just because like I think I want to build both. But like, man, it looks awesome. I love that you little things like this, like outlining, shading here. I know you did shading right here. You can see the outline on that. Brings out the extra details that like these things have, and it's awesome, man. Great work on this. I do have a question about. Oh, now I gotta elude that question. I have a question about something about your first build. Oh no, sorry, you're talking about down the hill. My question is Hawaii. This is totally not related to your build, by the way, but like Hawaii in general, what is the community it's like there for your local scene for model kits, Gunpla or Mecha related?
There are a couple stores that stock them, and so one of the stores that's down here at the mall is Razor Concepts. That's where I bought the no grade kits, the heavy arms, and the death scythe. But the one that I go to the most, because they're so awesome there. If you're ever in Hawaii, go check them out. It's called Minikyu Anime Shop. They have an Instagram that they post a lot of their stuff, and so sometimes I'll be like scrolling through Instagram and be like, babe, we gotta go to Minikyu, they got a new kit in. And she's just like, okay, let's go. And so it's been so awesome because like she'll be like, if you have the money for a kit, go buy it. You know, it's for your YouTube channel. You know, you're not just doing this because you're just spending money on a hobby. She understands that I'm trying to turn this into something that, you know, can be sustaining. And so like if I could share a little bit of my dream, like I want to make this my full-time job, you know, like even though I work in the school counseling and things like that, I feel like a greater calling here to help this community, you know, because not only can I reach, you know, students who may be just starting, and I've talked to a couple students about some of the kits that they've built, you know.
Yeah, but then I can also reach people. Do you have any students that you have come across with that are into the same hobby?
Oh yeah, I had a student that like didn't have a good relationship with a counselor before, but then because we were doing Skype calls and things, Zoom calls and Google Classroom, I could see in their classroom, and so I'm like, okay, class is over. Hey kid, can I talk to you after class for a minute? And I could see like that, am I in trouble for something? And I'm like, and then so he's like sitting there, he's like waiting for me to say something, and I'm like, is that the red phrase streaming in the background? He's like, yeah, let me go get it.
That is awesome.
Him about it, and so I'm just like, hey, cool, thanks for sharing with me. I just wanted to say I love your kids, dude. Keep building and just keep it up. And he was just like so happy, but just to see like my student just like have a kid, I'm just like,
yeah. Next couple of slides here, some of your recent posts as well. Are you addicted? This one here made the rounds. I remember this. You posted it on Gunpla Network and a couple other places, but this guy right here had a couple of talks. Okay, let's first off overview. What was the subject and what was the message on this?
So, the question, I posed it because this was how it was going to be found in YouTube easier. It was, are you addicted to Gunpla? And what I really wanted to show with this video, which I guess because of the way I worded it, it wasn't received that way. And what I really wanted to talk about is just like, do you have a Gunpla problem? And is Gunpla at a point where it is now affecting your ability to live a normal life? And I think what's really important about this video that I explained is that, like, you have to understand that, people throw around the idea of like, oh yeah, I'm addicted, ha 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 ha. It's like, no, like, if you really want to look into it, if you have a problem, like, it takes a lot to be found, like, to have a diagnosable condition. And, like, while, Gunpla addiction isn't like a diagnosable condition as of right now, it's still something that we can look at is, can you have a problem? And I think the biggest takeaways is that, if Gunpla is at a point where, it's preventing you from being able to hold a steady job, if it's preventing you from being able to take care of yourself physically, like eating and sleeping on a regular basis, self-care, hygiene and things like that, if it's preventing you from doing that on a regular basis, if it's affecting your relationships to the people that you already hold near and dear and close to you, if it's affecting you to a degree that, you're no longer engaging with them or you're shutting out from them, hey, like, yes, it's a great hobby, but hey, you might need to take a step back for a minute. Like, if you lose a job, you can't buy more kits. If you're not taking care of yourself, your health, you're not going to be healthy enough to build kits. If you don't take care of your relationships, you're not going to be able to share your finished builds with anybody. And so I felt like this one was like a really interesting way. And I wished I had marketed the video better, but in the way that I marketed the video, it really kind of showed me how many people were really ready to take that look and that dive in on their mental health. And I found that a lot of people were just like, yes, move on. And I'm like, you didn't watch the video, did you? And I can kind of see, and I'm not mad that they didn't watch the video. Again, when it comes to mental health, it's such a topic that a lot of people have the stigma around, like, no, you don't talk about your mental health. And for me and my channel, it's just letting you know that, like, hey, mental health doesn't have to be this scary topic. It doesn't have to be this taboo subject that, you only talk about if you have a really bad condition or if you're legitimately crazy. No, everyone has mental health, right? Everyone's going to have good days. Everyone's going to have bad days, right? Yeah. But what we don't want to do is we don't want to take something that we love and that becomes our permanent bad day. And that's kind of the purpose of this video, is just looking at, like, hey, most of you guys, you're not gonna meet the criteria, right? Like, if you're able to pay your bills and all your responsibilities are met, you're fine, right? If all of your additional income goes to building model kits, that's fine. You're really dedicated, great. But if it's affecting your ability to meet those things and do those things, then yeah, you might need to take a step back for a minute.
Absolutely. And it circles back to a lot of stuff too, both on, we were talking touch base about resources, and then that this is a hobby, guys, unless, like, there's like such a rare number of people that I could probably count in my hands who are doing this as a full-time thing. But again, it is such a niche hobby, and I think people with said conditions are clouded, especially with their judgment, and that is something I guess a lot of people don't even talk about. It's like, oh, I'm gonna spend this. I was like, yeah, but do you have the resource? It doesn't matter. Like, when they start shrugging that off, and to your point, like turning people off in a way, that is a very big sign. I'm glad you did do it this way. I'm gonna be one of those person that, like, hey, he put something out and people should look at it, because it shouldn't be a taboo subject. Mental health is such a very big subject that, like I said, that we won't be able to cover that in 1 or 2 or 3 shows. This is going to be an ongoing thing, but not acknowledging that, or even like talking about it, is also in a way not good. Both, be it like either a good topic, positive topic, or negative topic. The thing is, like, part of our hobby is the whole experience, right? We do this because everybody has their reasons on it, but like also you got to take care of why you got into it, So in high profile though, like, what are some of the comments that you received that you would say were either positive or meaningful from all the comments or feedbacks that you got from this video?
I got a couple of people saying that they were kind of scared to click on the video, and I'm like, hey, like, you're brave enough to kind of click on it, and thank you for taking the time to look at this video, because I think it just shows that you're really concerned about yourself, and that's great, and I'm glad that you found that it's not that big of a problem, or that you don't meet the criteria, so you could take a load off, letting you know that, okay, no, I'm okay, I don't have a real problem,
Yeah.
But I think it also kind of prompts in people's minds, like, hey, like, maybe I need to look at my spending, and even if it's not like a problem spending, but just like, okay, maybe I need to slow down a little bit. And I think just for me, it was just when people were like, they had the courage to click on the video and find out like what does it take. I think a lot of people came out of it feeling relieved, knowing that like, wow, okay, like, I don't have a problem, and I can see why it takes so much to get to that point. Because when you think of mental health issues, it's like it's a point where it is debilitating. It is preventing you from being able to have a normal life. And for people to just kind of say like, haha, I'm addicted, I'm like, no, like, don't like short yourself and just tell yourself that you have a problem and shrug it off as nothing big. It's a big condition, you should worry about it. But if you don't belittle yourself in saying you do. Be proud of like your spending. Like, hey, you've earned all that money to be able to afford those kits. Don't short yourself, but also don't be bragging and being like, ha 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 ha, look at all
that's
this.
That's where I was gonna get that. And that's the whole, I want to talk about backlogs before we get to the next part. That's another topic of a weird probably a lot of people are gonna unsubscribe after this one, but backlogs is something that I had a condition of. I'm totally admitting that I've collected more than I should have. I spent more than I should have. I have fallen into the whole addiction part. The whole did not think I had the resources, but I didn't take care of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I had a good job, I had a stable job, I had income, I had all this and all that stuff. For me, it was comfortable, but it was kind of to a point where I'm just like neglected a whole bunch of other stuff too. And some of the stuff that I reflected back on that helped develop the whole AO Mecha concept, the idea behind it, because I got better. I got to a point where I had to have an intervention. Oh my God, I'm telling this to everybody. Intervention from my family. That I had to get rid of some stuff because like it was cluttering my space. I had way more things in my space than I should have. And I'm very glad that did happen because it gave me a different perspective and I enjoyed the hobby more in a reasonable manner. Yeah. So videos like this, and that's why I reach out to you too as well, because of this, your messages on that. I can relate to it to a personal level because I have gone through a lot of these stuff here as well. Backlogs, if you are a member of Side 6, one of our number one rules is we don't post backlogs because number one, we don't need to brag about our kits. I want to see you guys show me your skills. I want to see you guys show me your builds, and how much fun you're having with the hobby. Anybody could post a box. That's just how I think about it. What are your take on like, again, like flexing that way, or when people tend to show off or brag about stuff? Like, is it something that we should have in the community, or is it something that we should be mindful of?
I guess it comes down to what are you trying to portray in your message, right? If you're just there to show off your backlog, be upfront about it. Don't try to hide behind the fact of like, oh, my closet is getting too full. Like, no, if you want to share your backlog, be proud of it, but understand that you might be telling somebody that like, I'm better off than you just because I have more kits than you. And so again, just be mindful of the things that you post. And I can completely understand, like, we don't post backlogs because it poses a problem, and like here, this is honestly me putting out my backlog on display here a little bit.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah, no, I completely agree with you and putting it into context as well. But like also, I don't know, it feels like, and I can't speak for everybody, but like to me, when I see a backlog nowadays, I get so not irritated. What's the word I'm looking for? Like very concerned about people's spending. It's not even my spending. I'm just concerned about like my fellow hobby mate here.
Yeah.
That's like dropping, X amount of hundreds, thousands even on the latest thing. And I'm in my head is like, I barely have time to build my stuff. And then, when you see like 5 PGs in a row, and I'm like, okay, all right, I'm impressive boxes. But like, do you think that sends a bad message, or like what kind of message does that send to people that are trying to get into the hobby, that are trying to grow into the hobby?
I think when people see backlogs and things like that, I think part of it, they may feel like, oh, I don't have as many kits as somebody else. But again, if you're just starting off, you can't compare where you are right now to somebody who's probably like if you look at somebody's backlogs, that could have been built up over years. Right. That could be years of buildup. Like, okay, I don't have time to buy this kit, but like for me, a lot of my projects or a lot of the boxes that I buy, I don't buy it until I have an idea for it. Like I bought, I have an idea for that Just. I have an idea for that full. Actually, the full Glancer was a gift from my fiance. Thanks, babe.
The Glance is great, by the way.
But like but like the heavy arms EW that I have there, I have an idea for it for videos, right? If you know that you're gonna get to the build, yeah, go ahead, buy it, right? If you're not putting yourself out, if you're not putting yourself out of a meal, and you're able to meet all your responsibilities, if you have an idea for a kit, fine, go buy it, go build it, things like that. And this is the same, these are from the same photo shoot that I did with the same kits, but like like the heavy arms custom, the Ultron that's beneath it, like I have ideas for it, and so I buy it because I'm going to use it to build my channel, which is different from people who might be building it for their hobbies. But if you're excited and you are buying it because you are planning to build it and you have ideas for it, sure, go for it. I don't see any problem with that. But once you start to realize that it's crossing over from, a healthy collection into an unhealthy collection, that's when maybe we should start to worry about it, And again, it comes down to when somebody's posting it, what's the intent behind the post? Are they just like, again, are they there to flex, or are they there to share like, hey, I've been building for so long, these are some of the kits that I'm excited to get to, what do you guys think I should build next? And some people do that as like a backlog flex, but some people are legitimately like, hey, what do you guys want to see next?
Yeah. Agreed. So in response to that video, Why You're Addicted, why is it so good? Was your following video for that one? And now, do you find that like this was perceived a bit different, more positive, more negative? Like what happened with this one?
The jury's still out on this one, because I only posted this one yesterday because I drop videos every Friday at about 10:30 my time. So I've usually finished the night before, schedule it to go out at 10:30 because that's when it hits kind of about the afternoon, evening time on East Coast and West Coast.
I'm glad that you're also doing the statistics in this one, because I like talking about that as well.
Yeah. And so I want to hit people on the East Coast, and then if I upload it at 10:30 my time, people on the West Coast, they're just about getting off of work,
Yep.
And then people like I actually have like a chunk of viewers from Malaysia and things like that. So when I posted at 10:30, they got something to wake up to. They got a video, and if they understand English, great. If they don't, hey, like thanks for at least checking out my video.
The closed captions could translate that, by the way.
Oh yeah, I think I have those turned on, but I gotta look more into that. But this video is kind of following up, like what. Like, okay, yeah, we can look at it as a problem, but like what gets people into this hobby, And I put a positive spin on it, like that when you build Gunpla, or when you initially when you buy kits, you get that immediate dopamine hit, right? That instant reward. But what keeps us in this hobby is that delayed gratification, the one that after we finish building and when we look at the finished kit and we're like, oh, that looks good, that delayed gratification, and then that continued reinforcement. Whenever you see that kit on your shelf, like, man, I remember all the hours I put into that. I remember all the problems that I've had with some of those kits. Things didn't work out, things worked out really well, and so anytime you see that kit, it reminds you of a lot of those things. And that's why I put like that Sazabi up there right by the G, and why is it so good? Like when I finished that video, I talked about, don't be afraid to try anything. And we'll get to that later. But, whenever I see my kit, there's always a reminder behind it. And I'm sure a lot of people, when you look at any of the kits that you finish, it sparks a memory, any memory. It could be a good one, it could be a bad one, but it's something that you learned along the way.
For me, just talking about memory and totally segueing from this one is I know every kit that I own and how I got them, either through haggling, through a good discount. I'm one of those guys that like if I see a good sale, or like if I think I could get a good purchase off it, I have a thrill for hunting things down. And then once I get it, I'm like, yes, I'm gonna build you sometime later, which also backfired because then it goes into the backlog. But like everything that is in my backlog has a hunting history to it. So to me, that's why sometimes taking it personal, I guess, comment here is like, I was scared of taking out my backlog because like once I build it, I'm gonna throw away the box and I'm gonna lose the memory for it. So that's another thing that's paralyzing for me for a good while. Like I didn't want to touch the boxes because I'm gonna lose that memory of how I got it, which is weird, isn't it? Like I don't know.
That's a very natural thing, because a lot of times when it comes to things that we have, there's not only the memory that's attached to it, there's the emotional attachment to it, right? Like all the hard work that you put into finding that kit, you know, when you see that box, it reminds you of that feeling. But what we need to remember is we don't have to let go of the things. We don't let go of the memories when we let go of the things. We can put things away and still keep those memories, and we can still keep those feelings. And we may not unlock it by looking at that box again, right? It may not ever unlock again, but we have to remember that that's still a part of us. It has been since it happened, and it always will be. And so we don't need to keep the things to keep the memories. And that's what I tell people when they're trying to clear out, maybe like, oh, I got a bunch of boxes that I need to get rid of, you know, or like I'm too afraid to throw some stuff away. It's like, no, it's okay. You can keep the memories. Remember, like, be thankful that you had it, be thankful that it served its purpose, but now it needs to go on.
Absolutely. And that's another thing that I was going to touch base. The minute I started throwing stuff out, I felt okay because number one, it cleared up some space. I'm able to get new stuff, and I'm going to be the thing that kept me going then after the whole paralyzing thing of like keeping the boxes, throwing them out, was that I get a chance not to create new memories.
Yes,
that to me was very, very important. So
absolutely.
Anyways, for those guys that are thinking of like what I do with my boxes, I do get rid of them. Every time I finish a build, the build stays. It goes into the background there somewhere in the display cases. But like getting rid of the boxes definitely help with the whole separation issues and the whole fear of like losing a memory. Because like, you know what, it's also good to make new memories on that. So also you were talking about Malaysia as well, and I think one of the guys here, the next one that you did a review for, Studio G, originally was from Malaysia, but he's also in Philippines right now. So you've done the new paint that he's about to release this coming week, I believe, right?
No, this is actually his first
original
one.
His first one? Okay.
Original, good. Yeah. So nice. I actually wasn't planning on doing a review, and I actually wasn't planning on doing any reviews on my channel at all. But the second I started spraying with the Studio G paints, I'm like, I need to talk about these for a minute. Because oh my God, was I scared of lacquers for nothing, you know? And kind of going back to when I was saying, like when I was practicing with Vallejo and the Tamiyas, I was afraid of lacquers because I'm like, oh, that's like toxic fumes. But I already had the mask. I already had, you know, like my I don't know if you guys can see that there, but that's my spray booth right back there. But I already had the things that I needed to take care of it. I just felt like lacquer was like this whole nother level of difficulty, but actually lacquers are so easy compared to acrylics. And I'm kicking myself because I was so stressed out for nothing. And I just like a lot of the times when it came to building things in like the Gunpla, I stressed myself out over for nothing. And I think a lot of people get that way too. And I've gotten to a point where I remind myself, like, no, don't stress out about it, you know? Have fun with it. If you're not having fun, there's no point in doing it. So just have fun with it.
Speaking of having fun, the next couple of photos, guys, it's going to be a fun talk. It's about some of his builds here. But before we get further into that, guys, thank you so much for those guys watching both on Twitch and YouTube. Let's do a quick round and see what's going on the... let's start with Twitch first. Let's see here. Where do we leave off? Plamo Builder. Yep, we got to that. Hit of Dopamine. Yes, there's the science behind that. There we go. Hey Taz, from DT Warrior. Hey Taz, I'm a new sub to be exact. The 800th sub the great work. So you're at 800 now. Congratulations.
Whoa,
let's get him to 1,000 because this man is on a mission. I whatever we can to help him, go for it. Like, share, tell your aunt or something. Tell your kids. Tell that guy down the street that's about to build Gundams that like Taz, the man here, is gonna be your new guide to the Plamo world. Let's continue on. Ooh, that's a good point. Enjoying the hobby in a healthy way. That's from Quinn. Absolutely. Riot is just with the eyes and all that, which is great. Let's see here. Hero, I don't think I have an addiction. I only spend whatever I can after my bills. Absolutely. That's also important. Note on that one. I think that just falls into dedication and passion. Absolutely. Not to mention the reposing and getting it just right, constant continued interaction. Yeah, I would, for me, thing is like, after that whole intervention, it's like, we gotta free your stuff from your boxes. To me, I feel like they're trapped in a cage, and you bought them for a reason. You enjoyed obviously the design or something about the kit that you want to own it and build it. So guys, I encourage you guys, build your backlog builder. That's what it's for. Kill your backlogs. All right. Let's see here. Simple, just keep all your boxes. Yeah, no. Maybe some, but no, this guy, no. I get rid of my boxes, but some of them I cut and post it on my wall. See, that's cool. If you have space for it, amazing. There are some really good box art as well. So yes, absolutely keep that if you're into it. I have a binder of box tops. The artwork is so great to trash. That's from Gunpla Ghost. Let's see, right is I throw away the boxes but keep the manuals. I had a pile. Okay guys, if I show you the pile of manuals, I could open my own library. I don't kid when I say I have a big backlog. Like I never ever want to show you guys because it is just ridiculous. Before, now it's manageable, but now it's kind of like I build and I get and I build and I get, and it's just like a vicious cycle. But I'm building it with you guys, which is awesome because I'm still building the backlog. Let's go over to YouTube. Lots of chatters here as well. I'm just going back. Oh my God, there's so many things that we got to go back onto this one. Let's start with keeping mental stability. That's from Tetsu. Absolutely. Zen moment. The task, the Gunpla is similar. Okay, I built Gunpla for a similar reason. Another reason is to be proud of something I made. Yes, we did talk about that as well earlier. The psychosomatic feelings. Yep, the Penelope is what caught my attention to the therapist. Awesome. Yep, that's the spirit. The only way to learn is to do so. And you were just talking about like just jumping into it. Ariel, gotta get that G Reworks coffee table. Or hit up Child of Mecha for the Mecha decals. Yeah, I gotta talk to Tim about that. See if he could send some my way. Addressing plastic crack addiction. Yes, we were just talking about that. Sumoza, plastic crack is a real problem, LMAO. Let's see here, David. I didn't watch the video, but totally agree about this point. Absolutely. When you get a chance, David, check it out. It's actually an interesting video. I never learned the hobby take over by too much. If I'm being paid to review and evaluate content, then that's different. That is from Merck. I'm glad this point is brought up. Yeah, we were talking a whole bunch of like, there's so much more. I really think we could make a whole segment, like a whole season, just talking about the different aspects of the whole hobby, mental health, everything from burnout, addiction, etc. So mental health and addiction are often misunderstood. This is from Neon. The attitude towards them is often negative as a result. I'm guilty of joking about being addicted to Gunpla because the joke is so normalized.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is a good point.
And again, that's kind of going back to what I was saying on Facebook, is just people just like they dismiss it without giving it a real thought. And I think a lot of times people dismiss it real quickly is because they're afraid to find out what someone might say about their mental health. But I think honest and open dialogue needs to happen more often, if not with me, who like, you know, like my purpose is also to kind of normalize mental health topics, right? Like, hey, I'm not a doctor sitting in a chair behind you while you lie on a couch and spill your deepest, darkest thoughts, right? If you're feeling upset about something, you know, your feelings are real, but let's talk about them. You know, if something's bothering you about the hobby, like, hey, I'm not having fun anymore. Okay, what makes you think you're not having fun anymore? Like, when you sit down to build a kit, what's going through your head at that time? You know,
Yeah,
it's just like taking the time to understand that, you know, this hobby's here to help us. Hobbies are there to help us, right? And when it doesn't help us, how can I get you to enjoy that again?
Yes, absolutely. All good points on that one. I think, again, more communication and topic talks like this is very important in our community because it raises awareness and it keeps people not, I wouldn't say in check, but like grounded. You know, there has to be some kind of grounding for this. Randall Jr., I'm late, but hello all. Welcome, Randall.
Welcome.
Let's see here. Merck is saying, I think the backlog as real estate eater and assume that every day is going to be your last by thinking the whole thing as such as backlog is able to be cleared faster. Ooh, yeah. Marcus was like, I keep all my boxes by flattening them down without tools. Then I slice them down, all the runners to for the coffee table cans to be used for industrial later. Okay. Last comment here. The review of the G-Paint is facing the heavy hitters because other bigger creators haven't touched in depth the G-Paints yet. Yeah, I talked with Justin. I think he's sending me some stuff, so I'm gonna be joining that pool of content creators that are going to be reviewing paints momentarily, as well as the Anchored paints. Thank you for Robot Kai to sending that. Let's continue on with the journey. So here we have the Messer. Awesome kit, by the way. Love the color scheme on this. All right, so what are we looking at the next couple of photos, man?
So this was the HG Messer. So I initially, when I saw it, I was like, I didn't want to build it. But then out of nowhere, I got like this idea for it. And I think this is kind of where my kit kind of went. Is like, I was like, oh, it'd be really cool as if I did like a gray and white theme to it, you know? And I kind of took this from, I played some games, and so Overwatch was kind of like one of the ones that I really
was gonna say, so I play Overwatch. That's a Genji color.
I was actually going for Orisa on this one, but everyone keeps saying it's Genji, and I'm like, oh. But yeah, so I'm just like, so I just kind of went with like the gray and white theme with like those neon green highlights.
Okay. So if you're gonna go Orisa, you're gonna need more of that yellow green color on the skin, because like Genji's all silver.
Yeah, and so this is just kind of like, that was like my skills at the time. This is what I was capable of putting out, and so like, you know, did it come out exactly how I imagined it? No, but I'm extremely proud of it.
Dude, I liked how it turned out, man. What are you talking about? Hey, don't sell yourself short, buddy. Let me tell you about this guy Taz, and he has his message about selling yourself short. No, great concept here. So what are some of the stuff that you used here for the neon?
So this was actually the last time I ever used acrylics on a kit. By this time I was already mixing my own primer. My rattle can had run out at that point, so I'm like, all right, it's time to fly. So I started mixing my own primer, and I was having problems with the gray. Like it just was not mixing. And I like talked to a lot of people, and they're just like, hey, you just got a bad bottle, man. Don't worry about it, because the gray just wasn't going on. It like wasn't like sticking. It was just like I could still see the color through it. And just like, even with the more coats that I did, to a point where it just started to get watery the more coats I put on it. So then I just like scrapped the gray halfway through and then switched to black, which like a lot of people are saying, like, you don't switch primers halfway through and go from one color to another color, but like that's all I had. So I switched to black. And so even under some of the white pieces, there's black primer under there. And so
really?
Like this was so this was the last time I ever used acrylics on a kit. But again, even with all of those headaches and with all of those problems going into this kit, I was dedicated to finish it and getting it out there, to the point where it turned out a lot better. And honestly, like, I just kind of had fun. Like for me, it was like, what can I do to this kit to have fun with it, you know? And so there's a couple modifications that I did. Like the first one is I cut that little bar that runs right down in the middle of the eye, like for the Messer, and I thought that was like the coolest.
That's what changed it. I was looking at it. It's like, what did he change it? Because like it looks. And a comment here from Quinn. That's the Messer. I didn't even recognize it with those colors. Damn. Right? Awesome stuff here.
And then so going back to your colors about that is actually Vallejo Moon Yellow and their Game Ink Green.
Game Ink Green. I might have to get my bottle. So I got the fluorescent green that I was gonna try, but I like this color more. It has like a nice like fade from yellow to green. I'm looking at some of the design on the gun there. Looking really cool. So what was like when you started painting? What are some of the thoughts in your head when you're working on this?
So for me, what it was is I wanted to make sure that I didn't have too many gray on gray parts or white on white parts. And so for me, it was like going part by part. Okay, white, I wanted white to be like the most outermost, and then kind of like gray underneath, and then deep inside was like all the metallics. And so like kind of hidden away and kind of like the side crunch there's a little bit of the metallic, that's the Tamiya gunmetal kind of showing through, which is also the color that was used for the gun. And this was before I knew that you put a gloss black down beneath metallics to make it pop, but it still turned out pretty good, and I was kind of happy with that. And then so a lot of times what I also learned is I learned how to make my own panel liner. I took the same yellow and green that I had, and I just watered it way down, and then I just used it like panel liner. And because it's water based, when I finished putting it down, I just went and just wiped it off.
Right? Because it's in the crevice already.
Yeah, and so like, because it's water-based, I just licked my thumb and just wiped it off, and it was done and like clean. And people are just like, how do I make my own panel liner? I'm like, I've got a picture for you.
Awesome stuff. Let's continue on. The next one here, I like this. So you have the clock there. Why do you have a clock there?
So this was initially going to be the first video that I did, which was a no manual build. And unfortunately, this was when I first had an issue with like my videos. And so I think this was like my second or third video that I was working on. And I lost all the build footage of it, all the no manual build. I'm like, well, I can't upload a no manual build and not show the build. And so the only thing that I had left was this picture on my phone where so that's my old phone, and then I took a picture with my new phone. At that point, I was at 3 hours just at that one leg, core, a little bit of the backpack, and so at 3 hours 31 minutes, that's where I was at. That's as far as I'd gotten.
Oh man.
And eventually, I think it took me like 8 hours of building to get it to where it finally was completed, and then after that, I started customization on it. So if we go, it's because you went to the next picture.
Sorry, I jumped the gun on that one.
No, you're good. So for that one, what I did was the backpack had like all those additional arms and it was really tall. So what I did was I kind of shortened it down and made it a little bit closer. And this kit was actually picked out by my fiance, and so I decided, you know what, let's go with the Batman. Let's go with the Batman theme on it, because her favorite hero was Batman, and so I kind of went ahead and I shortened it down. I went with Batman colors, and I wish again my photo skills have gotten better, but at the time this was as good as I can do, and I'm proud of it. But like as you can see on the front of the arm there's like the little Batman spikes sticking out, and then I got like the yellow V fin with the accent going there with the white eyes. I was just like, oh man, this came out so good. But again,
I like the white eyes idea, by the way. It's very rarely seen done like this. I think this is the first time I've seen white eyes on a Gundam. It looks really cool. I'm just totally complimenting this because like it looks really cool, man.
Yeah, so I just was like, because I mean, if you look at Batman, you look at all the other comics and adaptations, and even like the animated television show, the eyes are white. Yep. So I'm like, okay, eyes got to be white.
Awesome stuff here, man. Well, the customs, hopefully you get to at least retake some of the photos of this if you've lost them. Are they on your Instagram?
The photos for this one are on Instagram, yes. The customization part of the build is up on YouTube still. I just didn't have the no manual build for this one, but I have a no manual build that I did for another kit, which will be coming up, which is the heavy arms. This one, I was able to, so what threw me off about the Silver Bullet Suppressor was all those additional arms. And it had a bunch of spare parts from the Unicorn still. And so I was like really thrown for a loop here. But when I did this one, there isn't any additional parts, right?
It's a straight on.
It's a straight on, like a couple leg parts that are, as you can see above, was like cut off, right? Those are parts that were those are extras, but like it took me 3 hours to get to that. And I had just posted it as a finished build because I was like, yeah, I built it without the manual, and I noticed now like the ear antenna are upside down, but I went back and fixed it eventually.
Nice. Again, I've done several no manual builds during the live show. If Skyers is on the chat here, he's gonna be like, oh my god, he's scared all the time. If I'm gonna break the piece, lose the piece, oh my god, what is he doing? You know what? I enjoy no manual builds because they're fun. I don't know, like, why did you do no manual builds? Is it a personal challenge, out of curiosity?
So again, kind of going back to my channel, I knew I wasn't gonna be like the most popular, like the craziest cool builder with all the cool bits, but I was like, what are some fun things that I can do to kind of like get some people on the channel? One of the things that I came up with is like, hey, what if I try to build a kit without the manual? And so that's kind of how that started with the Silver Bullet Suppressor, and then that didn't work out, so I redid it again with the heavy arms. And so it was just kind of letting people know, like, hey, like if you're tired in this hobby of like just doing a straight build, challenge yourself, try something new. Yes. You know, and this is kind of like the first kind of little dabble into the mental health side of my videos, where I was just like, hey, like give this a shot. If this is something that you enjoy, why not try it? Like it's a break in the usual routine of just straight builds or straight build paint decal and things like that. You know, it takes the mindfulness out of it and forces you to really think about, okay, what does this piece look like and where does it look like it goes? Because for a while I was looking at the arm segment and it was actually or I was looking at the leg segment thinking it was the arm, but that was actually not even included at all.
Awesome stuff. Good point on your subject topics. One of the things will be kind of alluded, but like we're going to talk about it next, burning out.
Yes.
Let's talk about burnout real quick here. What is the result of burnout? What are some of the symptoms and how do we get out of it?
So when it comes to burnout, a lot of the times when people associate like burn out with their hobby. It's when you sit down at your table, you look at the kit in front of you, and you're just like, I don't want to do this, right? That's like the number one indicator that you're probably burnt out, right?
Yeah.
And the reason I was really happy with this video was because I actually wasn't the first person to post this. It was Don Seratos from the Vallejo Painter. He posted that on his channel, and I was just so blown away and so happy to see another person talking about mental health on their platform. And I messaged him like, hey, can I like use part of the topics that you use in your videos to kind of do a follow-up, because I'm really happy to see other people talking about mental health on their platform. And so I kind of took like what he was mentioning, like how he avoids burnout, and I just added the science behind it.
That's good. So some key pointers of people that are approaching burnouts. What are some of your advices for them to, number one, watch out for, and what are some of the things they could do to get out of it?
So
be better with it.
So one of the things I always tell people is that kit will always be there. It's not gonna get up and it's not gonna expire and you can't build it anymore. It'll still be there, right? And if you're tired with it and you want to take a break from it, take a break. Go do something else for a little bit. Play games. Like I'm on my gaming computer and I play with my friends all the time, you know. And when I'm kind of tired of building or doing YouTube stuff, I'll go and hang out with my friends and play games. But taking that break can help us start to miss the times that we had building it and ultimately get us to come back. So that's one of the ways. The other ways too is if it's just that kit in front of you that's like getting you down, put it off to the side and start another project, you know? Like everyone has like this idea that, or at least a lot of people I see is like, no, you have to finish a build before you get on to the next one. It's like, no, you don't. It's you build it how you want to do it. You build, like if you're done with a build, right? If you're unhappy with it, it's okay to stop. And there's a couple kits that I've stopped because I'm like, I'm not having fun with this anymore. You know, I'm like, it's just like I've been trying, but like anytime I sit down to work on it, there's a problem. Like there was only ever one kit that I ever gave up, and that was the RG Sinanju. I had a paint idea and I was working on it, but I gave up on it because I wasn't having fun with it anymore. And you know, like thinking back about it now, you know, like I still have the kit. It's like right up there on my shelf, but you know, I am done with it, but I already feel myself being like, I want to give it a round two, you know? Nice. And so if you feel like you're done now, fine, stop. But if you want to come back to it, you're always welcome to come back to it. The hobby's always going to be here for you. You're not going to miss out. If you need a break, take that break. You deserve it.
Good stuff. No, seriously, that's a really good, advice there, especially for those guys who just gets frustrated or feels trapped that they have to finish it. Like, yeah, don't be. It's a hobby. Enjoy. You're supposed to be happy. Another theme here is like be happy with your thing. Don't you want to be happy? That's like the first question I should be asking people, like when they get stuck. The next question here, very interesting. Don't be afraid to try. We touched about this earlier on. You weren't afraid to try, to just jump right into airbrushing, mixing your own paints. What are some of your major messages for this video here, or like your topic here?
So for this one, it was kind of a culmination of all of my previous builds before, but also trying to just try something new. And so what I wanted to try to do is I wanted to try to do the thing where miniature painters do. It's called zenithal highlighting, right? Where you do like black with like a black pre-shade underneath, and you do like a white from the top so that it kind of simulates light from the top down. And I wanted to paint it and give it some additional details. But so I painted the base colors using my airbrush, but I wanted to add some more details by hand painting. And I've done a little bit of miniature painting in the past because I was still trying to just get used to painting in general. And while I enjoyed it and it was definitely fun, it was also really costly compared to Gunpla, where I had more fun building it and then painting it. So I had some of the skills, but I hadn't painted in like, I want to say at least 4 or 5 months. And so when I go back to when I did the Y video, I did this in collaboration with another YouTuber who's in the UK who does miniature painting, and him and I are in another group together. But he was like, okay, he painted a miniature to look like a Gundam, right? So then I decided, all right, I'm gonna paint a Gundam like
like a miniature.
Nice. And so like, is it a perfect build? Absolutely not. There's flaws everywhere. Like the yellow is bad because obviously yellow is a tough color to paint, you know, but I'm proud of how it turned out because I realized that like I had done something I hadn't tried before, which was the edge highlighting, right? When I did the Sazabi. And so like certain parts, I went ahead and did a white highlight on some of the edges to make it look like a shine. And in some of the pictures, it looks really good, you know? And in other pictures, like it doesn't look as great, but I was so happy with how it turned out. It's just like, if I hadn't tried it, I never would have known. So I always say, just don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to make that mistake, you know? Like it's a plastic model kit. It's not a nuclear bomb. If you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. It's not, you know, there's no stress behind it. I mean, yeah, sure, you might be out a couple bucks if it's not as exactly how you wanted it to be, but take that and use it as a learning experience, you know? Like for me with the messer, when my paints weren't going as well, I learned, okay, I need to adjust. Let's just switch to black and just try to make sure I get better coverage. And so it really forced me to get better as a painter, because I had to make sure that my white can cover black.
Absolutely. We're gonna get to more of that. The next couple of photos is gonna be the Sasabi, but we're gonna bring it back real quick here, guys. Joining us tonight, Taz, all the way from Hawaii. The Plamo therapist is in session. Hopefully you guys are taking in. There's a lot of really sound advices here, a lot of sound words. We do have a question over on YouTube from Miko Pla. I have a question. If we notice a friend experiencing burnout or not wanting to learn or to return to the hobby anymore, should people suggest selling or donating their kits?
It really comes down to that person, because if they think they're done but they want to hold on to the kits for whatever reason, we got to honor their wishes, you know. If they come and ask you for your advice, you're more than welcome to give your advice. But if they're not specifically asking for it, you know, just support them. If you're tired, just they're burned out, like, hey, I completely get it, you know. Burnout's a real thing. If you want to sell your kits, you can sell them. If you want to just donate them, you can donate them. But ultimately, just as a good friend, just support their decision, whatever they decide. Even if deep down you're just like, please just give it to me, just give it to me. You have to support
I think
them.
that was the real question. It's like, should I tell them to give it to me?
Yeah, well, we can't force them to do anything, and we don't want to seem like we're just in this friendship because they're gonna give me kits, right?
Absolutely.
And so just again, if you really want to be a good friend, just support whatever decision they make.
Good sound words. We're gonna do a quick break. We're gonna be back here, talk a little bit more with Taz, a couple of more images here. But yeah, we're approaching near the show. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's do this commercial break. We'll be right back after this.
Hey, what's up guys? It's Ariel from AO Mecha. I just want to let you guys know about all my other social media outlets if you haven't had a chance to check them out at facebook.com/AOMecha, on YouTube, youtube.com/AOMecha, on Instagram, instagram.com/AO_Mecha, on Twitter, at AO_Mecha, and on Discord, fairly new. That one is AO_Mecha, #3414. Anyways, hope to hear from you guys through any of those platforms. Feel free to DM me or PM me, as well as emailing me. My email is aomecha.info@gmail.com. Just want to let you guys know that this episode is brought to you by USA Gundam Store. Please check them out, www.usagundamstore.com, and save on your purchases when you use my discount code AOMecha10. All right, let's get back to the show and see what's going on there.
Aloha! Did I say it right? Aloha. Hey, welcome back, guys. My name is Ariel. You're watching Spotlight here on AO Mecha Live. It's Saturday night here at Toronto. Hopefully you guys are having a good day, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you guys are watching. Thank you for tuning in both on YouTube and on Twitch. Tonight's guest, Taz Gample, aka Plamo Therapist, is joining us. Let's go join him back again and see what's going on. Taz, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm excited. I'm having so much fun here.
Me too. No, seriously. We've gone through so many topics, and there's so much more I want to talk about. Again, there's just so much, and I'm very glad. Number one, your channel is awesome. Hopefully, you guys are following it, both on YouTube and on Instagram. And yeah, like let's talk a little bit more before we get back. I do have a question here. I tell you what, let's go read some of the questions that we got from Instagram. Yeah. So earlier on, I posted a question. If you have any questions for the guest, two came up here that stood out. So the first one is actually from Tetsu, who's also in the chat. What are the suggestions for people on the fence regarding Plamo?
You'll never know until you try. And so, start off with a kit. If you're like kind of looking and you want to give it a shot, start off with a kit that you find really cool. Like for me, I didn't know a lot about Gundam and like the lore and the shows and things like that. I just bought the kits that I thought looked cool. And I think that's what really helped me to continue to stay in the hobby, is that whenever I saw a kit that looked cool, I got it, because it's going to help you to continue to get into it. And, if you spend the money and you are, you decide that this hobby is not for you, that's fine. That's okay. It's not for everybody, but you wouldn't know it until you've tried it.
Absolutely. Second question here, dead.aqua from Instagram. He's also asking, as a new Gunpla fan, which kit would be fun to build for me? Ooh, it's an interesting one.
That's always kind of a hard question because
Yeah,
it's definitely when it comes down to skill levels, you know. I think the SD kits are underrated. I think those are definitely a lot of fun to build, and so that would be fun for somebody new if you want something that looks a little different from Gunpla but still in the same vein. If you want big kits but are still relatively easy and straightforward, the new Hathaway Flash kits like the Messer, the Penelope, the Kasai, I don't know how to say it properly.
Zai, yeah.
Kasai. Those are all really cool kits that have really good engineering behind them and actually really fun. If you want one that's super fun and posable, that Beyond Global, that thing is so cool. That thing is posable. I love that one too. That's like that's the only other RX-78 that I've ever built. If you want a challenge, you want to go for more detail, definitely master grades if you like the bigger size. If not, the new real grades are really awesome. If you want that ultimate challenge, you know, there's perfect grades out there for you. If you are crazy and you really want to go hard, there's resin conversion kits. You know, it all comes down to where you're
I don't know
comfortable.
if I could recommend that to someone new, man. Hold on. Hold your horses there, young lady. First off,
the question got away from me.
Okay, let's circle back here, Mr. Realistic Daydreamer. For me, my recommendation offhand right now, number one recommendation, entry grade RX-78. By far the most. It is the most diverse in parts, very articulated, but simple enough that you probably don't need like very special tools. You can snap it off very cleanly off. I still recommend using tools. Entry grade RX-78, any of the entry grades, even Pokemon, if you just want to test out the plastic, the 30-minute missions also will not break your bank, and it will give you the proportions and the fun and kind of like the experience of the high grade. So that one, my last entry for Clean versus Weathered, that one's a hybrid of a high grade and a 30-minute mission. So there's a lot of like diversity. High grades, I think, is where I would recommend them to start. Entry grade RX-78 is number one, and then 30-minute mission would be a close second to that.
And the Dragon Ball Z figurized kits, those are a lot of fun too.
It is slip and slide for that one. That one, I built one, I was this close to getting super addicted to it, and I had to stop myself from buying everything. I loved it. I bought the trunks, amazing. Recently I posted the Kamen Rider. I love Kamen Rider, so I saw Den-O and actually Quinn on the chat, because like I picked it up at Meeple Mart, and Quinn, like, he's coming out and giving me the bag. He's like, "You want this kit? It's like the ugliest out of the set." And he's like giving me lip for it. I'm like, hey, I don't judge what you buy. You didn't buy your Barbados yet.
But if you find a kit that you think looks cool, go for it, because it'll like, no matter how difficult it is, if you're willing to make it look good, it'll look good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, and have fun. I think the first part of the question is I'm a big Gundam fan. Have fun is the next portion of that one. Speaking of having fun, the next kit that we have here, very cute, and I saw the fun in this. The SD, oh my god, Sinaju. Not Sinaju. This is the
Sazabi.
Why did I say Sinaju? Was I thinking of
Big red kit. Big red kit. You know.
Anyways, we were talking about the white highlights earlier on. This one here, awesome take on it. Can you walk us through this project? Because it looks like a fun project. I could see the fun in this.
Yeah, and so what's really fun was that, like, you snap this thing together in 10-20 minutes tops, you know. Like, if you really want to like prep for paints, like sand everything down, maybe like 40 minutes, an hour, right? But the kit is done in like no time at all, right? And then you can go straight into painting this. And as soon as I finished snapping it together, I primed it. I think the only reason it took so long is because I was recording on top of building it. But to go from the primer to paint and then onto the hand details, it was just like in my head, I already knew where I wanted to take it. So it's just kind of just go from there. And I think that's kind of why like a lot of the kits that I have and that I've been building kind of go quicker, even though I'm recording, is because I already know where I want to go with it. And so when it came to this kit, I started with just the Zenithal highlighting, like I mentioned, and then I went with the base red that I had over, and that's another reason why I love the Studio G paints. It's a lacquer paint, but it works really well with pre-shading, where a lot of lacquers sometimes don't really take to like pre-shading all that well most of the times, because the pigments are so good. It's better for post shading, but I did pre-shade with this and it actually came out really good. And so after I did that, I went ahead and just did the hand details, which are all the yellow sections and all the white details. The only other place that I hand painted were like the little red fin funnels on the backpack, which is a different red. I wanted to try to see if I could do that, but I was just drawn back to like the front section of the kit that I wanted to just do those edge highlights, because it's one of those things that I saw when I wanted to do miniature painting that I never got to do. And so I'm like, oh, let's try to do some edge highlight here. And so if you just look, there's like some white lines here and there. It's harder when it's kind of zoomed out, but when you zoom in, you could see some like the edge highlights.
Oh, we could totally zoom in. You mean this guy right here?
Yeah. And so like all those little like white lines are just like little highlights that, you know, like when you look at the line individually, it's like, oh, it's a white line. But when you zoom out and you see the whole kit, the piece all together, you know, it looks a lot better. And as you can see, like those lines aren't perfect. There's chips here and there because it's acrylic, and that's okay. I was so proud about how well it turned out for me trying something that I've never done before, you know? And like, if you look at the SD kit in and of itself, it's small. And so to get those lines as thin as they were, I was so pumped when it came out so well.
Yeah, no, it looks really cool. At first I thought it was the light hitting it. I'm like, man, this guy got some shiny gloss thing. And then when I zoomed in, when I was doing the ad for our show, I'm like, oh, this guy freaking painted the highlights in there.
Yeah.
I was like, if I wish you saw me while I was putting together graphics. My mind went from like, yes. Quick thing here. Let's go over to the chat. Nicholas Teades Sanchez, GBWC winner 2019, is in the chat. He's saying,
oh, no.
Hello, everyone. Sorry I'm late. One of my closest friends here.
Don't look.
He's totally judging you right now. It's like, oh yeah, I've done that before. I remember my first kit. Here's a question. Actually, no. Let's jump here. Quinn from the Twitch. Truly, though, it's all about preference. There are so many kids. Live by your own rule of cool. And he's giving me the the tongue sticking out emo. Yeah. No, I'm just bantering with you. I love you, Quinn. You know that. Let's see here. There's a question here from Tetsui saying, what kit will you guys consider rare hidden gems? A rare pla. What's a rare pla to you?
I don't know, because for me, it's just like, because they continue to get reprinted and things like that. For me, like, yeah, there are some kits that are harder to find, but in the end, if I don't get it, I'm not too broken up about it. You know, like right now I'm on the hunt for some of the full mechanics IBO kits, but it's not like if I don't get it, I'm all bummed then. So like one of the ones that I was super fortunate to get as a gift was the Gushin, the 1/100 Gushin.
Fudge! I was gonna say that. That's like the most hunted kit right now. I built all the 1/100 so far, minus the Bale and the Gushan. Gushan is such a unicorn right now, man.
I have the Bale here, and then I bought another Barbados, the full mechanic, so I can build the rebake as well.
Just get the inner frame for that, eh?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
For me, rare kit. That's a tough one. I want to say G Savior. I built one recently, but I want another G Savior so I could actually like have one in backlog. But like if I was to hunt down a kit, rare pla. I know the Age is coming back in reprint. I know the Zoids are coming back in reprint. Those, yeah. So I have all the seed that I needed. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Okay, the thing is, I'm at to a point where I built so many kits already that like I've crossed out a good chunk of numbers, and it's like the what you mentioned. The Gushan is definitely up there. It's the things that I passed up definitely are gonna be the rare kits. Offhand, I don't know. I can't even fathom what I would say was. I want to get a round buckler. It's from Mars Daybreak. Round buckler. There was a kit for that. I built one. I totally destroyed it because I didn't know what was going on. I was younger and it was just dumb. If I get my hands on that kit, I would totally paint it again because it was a fun show and it's a fun build. So yeah, it's up there. That one, round buckler. Let's continue on with the Sazabi here. I think we got like one more photo. But overall, like so after you painted it, this wasn't for a competition. This was just strictly just for the fun of it, right? Yeah,
this was absolutely just trying to have fun with it. And you know, and again, like when looking at this, like this is completely different from my other setup, but like for me, I feel like the photos have stepped up from this compared to, you know, like the blown out Death Scythe hell in front of like the gym flooring, you know, like this photo has stepped up. And all it was just, I took my cutting mat, I put it up in the back. I have a new ring light that I've been using for my videos. I kind of positioned all the lights that I had. I just started kind of going to town, and I'm just like, I can definitely see like, hey, I'm getting better, you know, and like the thing that I always say is the only person you should focus on getting better is you from yesterday. You know, when you're building a kit, don't focus on getting better than somebody who's been building for 30 years. You know, like they just have so much more experience on you. You're not going to get to that level, but you can get better than yourself from yesterday. You can learn something that you can try to use for the next kit. You know, if you want, go back and rebuild a kit and put them side by side and see just how far you've come.
Right. Absolutely. What is the most memorable part of this build right here?
The most memorable part of that build, I want to say, was when I started to edge highlight just right around that face. And so like all those little light white lines, I tried not to go too much, and I think I still went a little overboard, but I was just having so much fun just getting the edge highlights, and I just went all over the place. Like, where can I put an edge highlight? Right there. Where can I put an edge highlight? Right there. You know, it was just so much fun to see it come to life. And, you know, just like, I didn't expect it to turn out how well it did. You know, is it perfect? No, but I'm happy with it. And so this is up on my shelf in my videos. If you ever see it, it's just to remind me and remind you guys, like, don't be afraid to try stuff.
Yes, absolutely. Awesome show and tell. We've reached the end of the photos here, but let's bring it back to us real quick here. Taz Gample here joining us. Plamo Therapist is in the house. I just want to say big shout out to everybody joining us both on Twitch and on YouTube. The couple of comments on YouTube here. How easy is it to hand paint with the G paints? Ooh, that's a good question. That's from Miko Pla.
I hand painted the face on the Beyond Global that is in the Studio G Paint review, and compared to acrylics, it is definitely got a lot more. It's definitely easier to cover, and because it's like lacquer, it's kind of self-leveling, so it kind of came out really nicely. If you're trying to do like color modulation, I would say like the G paints might not be the best because again, it's a lacquer. It's meant to be solid, even coverage. But if you want to try, like, I'd say give it a shot. I definitely would recommend painting, like hand painting with it if you want to try it.
Nice. I have to test that for myself too. But yeah, I mean, like, go test it out. If you need to, like, you know, try it out on, like, don't try it out on your main piece first. Get like a spoon or some like excess parts for something before you actually do it. If you're like on the
runners, definitely the runners
and all that. Let's see here. Nicholas Sanchez saying, "Oh, I like it. The rarest kit I got so far, and this is from Merc, is the P Bandai MG Alba. Ooh, that is rare." Nicholas Sanchez saying, I built the Bale 1100, but I hated that kit.
Oh no, I have that kit.
Well then, rare kits for me. This is from Neon. It's the Stargazer. Yes, the Stargazer was a fun build. I built that first release. So another thing too, I've been around the scene for so long that I built so many kits that I could tell you when the first releases were, because like I usually hunt down first releases as one of my things. But definitely that one's up there. Also he really wants the Cerberus Bacau, but can never find one. I had 3 at one point. So, but anyways, wow. I wish I could give them to you because like I think I donated 2 of them because I didn't needed it, and the one I did build, I used it for kit bashing when I was not ready for kit bashing. So that's a different topic altogether. Let's see here. Merc is saying, second to that MG Alba is the MG Build Mark II. It's getting tougher with the time to get. Yes, a lot of the build MGs are hard to get right now. I think the only one I saw that's available was, like, anyways, for me locally would be the Strike, Build Strike. But it doesn't even come with the Cosmos pack. Anyways, that's me geeking out about, like, yeah, building so many things is fun because you get the experience of that, but like don't let that obviously take over your life. But yeah, let's talk a little bit just before we send you off. Again, good stuff on all your points. I really am appreciative of you doing this show with me, Taz. So for people who I guess they're trying to get into the hobbies and all that stuff, like, you know, what are some of the sound advices you would give to them?
So kind of going back to it, just if it makes you happy, just do it. You know, give it a shot. If you're having fun with it, continue. Great. You know, develop your skills, just have fun with it, and don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. If you want to try something new, go for it. You know, don't be afraid to try. Like I said in my last, like that video about the Sazip, it's just, you know, if you're letting yourself hold yourself back, that's the only time you're really failing in this hobby. And I feel like as long as you continue to just have fun with it and just try your best and just enjoy the process, and even if you're just stopping at a snap build, that's great. You can be proud of a snap build. I'm proud of some of the snap builds that I have. You know, I have a snap build on my shelf, which is that the the no grade Death Side Hell, he just has a little bit of panel lining, but he's not painted. And I love that kit. That's one of my favorite kits because it reminds me of like, you know, how much work I put into it when I first got back into the hobby. And so no matter what, as long as you're having fun and you just continue to enjoy what you're doing, that's all that matters.
Absolutely. And really good points on that one. Let's see here. We have a question here. Ooh, this is a tough one. Let me see.
Okay.
This is from Miko Pla. Have you been accused of coddling, in quotations, when it comes to this hobby since starting your channel, given the advice that you do? Ooh. Is that, are we allowed to say? You don't have to answer that if it's too much for you, but like I think that was a very tough question here.
I'm not sure I understand coddling.
Yeah.
Can he or she elaborate on that?
Miko, can you elaborate on that? Yeah, okay, let's elaborate that.
I really want to answer that question, but I want to make sure I understand it first before I answer it.
Okay, all right, let's circle back on that. Big shout out to Cruisite for donating $2 to the show, and there's a highlighted message here. Thank you so much for that. What is your advice on building the PG Strike Freedom? Thank you. Ooh, have you built a perfect grade?
No, I want it. That's the one perfect grade that's like on my wants list. The perfect grade Strike Freedom. I have heard the backpack has some issues because it's so heavy, and so there are some aftermarket metal additional parts for that that support the backpack a little bit better. If it's who I think it is, and I'm jealous that you have a perfect Strike.
Awesome stuff. Are you gonna be able to, did you see yourself venturing into like the perfect grades?
Oh, absolutely. I definitely think like if they come out with like a RX 93 perfect grade, I'm all about that, you know. But
I think everybody else will be, but yeah.
I think as it stands right now, the only one that's really catching my eye is that Strike Freedom. For some reason I wasn't super big fan of the 00 design. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just like I don't have an idea for them, and that's my biggest problem. I can't find like a paint idea for it, you know. Right. Like I do a lot of like same color schemes. Like if you look at the the Penelope, its original color scheme, the RX 78 Beyond Global that I did its original color scheme. But that's because I wanted those to look that way.
Awesome stuff. Let's do last couple of questions. If you guys have last couple of questions, put them on right now. Let's hear from Miko Pla, just circling back on your questions, more or less babying people looking for advice when it comes to gunpla and mental health.
Oh, so no, I would never coddle anybody. Why? Because if you need to hear something, I'll tell it to you, right? Because if I don't give it to you in a way that's going to be received, you're not going to listen to it, right? And sometimes it needs to be the hard truth, and sometimes it needs to be just like, hey, this is not cool, you need to fix it, you know. Like I'll tell it to you, because why? If I hold back from you, I am holding you back, and that's not fair for me to do to you. You know, if you're proud of something and you're saying like, hey, like I'm proud of this kit, right? Like I'm not gonna like bash you on it because that's like your best work, you know. But if you're like, hey, do you have some pointers on how I can get better? I'd be like, hey, you can do these sorts of things, you know. And so
absolutely.
in my mind, when it comes to coddling, I wouldn't want to coddle anybody, because if they want to get better, I want them to get better. Just like for people, I wouldn't want people to hold back on their critiques of my content, things like that, because if you don't tell me how I can get better, I can't get better.
Absolutely. But also keep in mind, constructive criticism goes a long way rather than pointing out flaws. Anybody could point out flaws or mistakes without providing any type of support solution or how to make it better. It's just a rant, and no one needs you guys to be super negative Nancy about like, oh my god, stickers, or like, you know, like it's, guys, be mindful of the person that's building it too, because that is
the person on the other side of that post.
Absolutely. Question here from Riot. Is there any mobile suit you want Bandai to make as a kit that hasn't been yet?
Perfect grade Sazabi. I just want more perfect grades. I just want big kits. I just want the big kits.
Oh my god. Yeah, once you go big, guys, look at this guy right here. Let's hear what. I love the 00. It was my first Gundam anime, and 40 years old. Oh, I didn't even know you're 48, dude. That's what? And still building kits.
Wow, that's awesome.
Woo!
But it just shows that just how varied the builders are.
Yes, absolutely. And also the RG Quant was my very first kit I could build. Dude, DT Warrior, like message me up. We could talk about some of the builds if you have, you know, any questions or you just want to chat it up. either myself or Taz here, I'm sure he'll be more than happy as well to just chat with you if you ever want to in regards to the builds. But that is
Absolutely.
so cool, man.
And again, I have nothing against the double O kits. I whenever I look at it, I'm like, I can't think of a design that looks cooler than it already is.
Oh no, he's saying no. That was when he was 48. I'm 51 now, bro. Oh my god.
Oh, even better.
That's cool. That's cool. I'm looking forward to being. I can't wait to see my old self and still building it. You know what I mean? Last comment here. If you guys do a collaboration in the future, will you guys start vlog series on Gunpla mental health or focus on doing a build up? Ooh. TBD. I don't know what kind of topics it is, but like Taz, I'm throwing an invite. I think we could do some future stuff. I could see future collaboration in the horizon for us. So if you guys are down for that, if you're down for that, I'm sure these guys are too, and we'll try to make that happen.
This is so much fun. If you want me back on here, you tell me when and where, and I'll make it happen. As long as I'm not missing work.
Yeah. Absolutely. That is important. Thanks a lot, guys. That's from DT Warriors. Okay, so we're wrapping it up. Taz, amazing show. Again, you're more than welcome to come back as well. I'm looking forward. What's next for you? What's lined up on your I guess content creation?
So another series that I wanted to do is I wanted to look into kind of like the psychology behind some of the channels on YouTube and things like that. And so be on the lookout in the near future for a psychoanalysis of Studio G's channel, like what makes his channel so, so popular, what makes his channel so like how he grew so fast, just kind of doing psychoanalyses of his channel. If Ariel would like me to do one of his, I'll do one of his channel, but just kind of looking at,
hell yeah,
what makes these channels so awesome. Yeah.
Go for it, because I want to know where I could improve. I think that I would learn more from that, and I'm glad if you are going to do that, dude. I'm very honored if you do, so thank you in advance for that. Awesome stuff. And for those guys are probably not familiar where to find you, where are you most active, where's your social media platforms, where can people find you?
The best one, if you want to just come check out my YouTube channel, it's youtube.com/plamotherapist. If you just want to see kind of my pictures and builds, and every Saturday I do a Ask a Therapist segment on my Instagram. So if you want to ask me a question, it doesn't even have to be mental health related. It could be Gunpla related. It could just be any general question you want to ask another person. I'm open to all kinds of questions, and I keep it confidential, so I won't post who's asking the questions. But if you have a question you want to ask, you can find me on Instagram at plamotherapist, one word, no hyphens, no underscores, no dots, just plamotherapist. So those are the two that I'm most active on. I am in Facebook groups, but that's just under my personal info. That's Taz Gample. And so if you see that in Gunpla Builder Tips and Tricks or Gunpla Hawaii or Gunpla Network, that's me.
Awesome. The one and only Taz. Taz, stay on the line after the show and after we say bye, because I want to chat with you for a bit. But for now, last words for our audience tonight. What can you say?
Honestly, guys, thank you so much for being here with me and Ariel. Support his channel. It's also supporting me because I get to, I just get to be with him. So big thank you to him and all the hard work that he does. So, he was kind of giving me some spiel about the behind the scenes that he does. So guys, just give him some love, because it's a production for him and his one-man army back there, but give him some love, show him the support, because he puts in so much work for his channel. But anyway, guys, thank you so much again for joining us. I hope you found some value in our video and our content today. As always, take care of yourselves. Take care of the people around you, and we'll see you in the next one.
Awesome stuff, Taz. Thanks for coming by. Thank you so much. All right, say bye to everybody.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Woo! Another good, amazing, fun, informative episode in the bag. Taz, amazing individual. I wish him all the best. And guys, don't forget to follow his channel. Follow him in the social. Drop him a line if you have any questions for the therapist. There you go. Like that's a session right there. It doesn't have to be Gunpla. I'm gonna probably ask him about like life and stuff in the next while. Dear therapist, it's gonna be like one of those Gunpla AAs. Oh my god. Big shout out to everybody joining us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. But first we gotta pay the bills, so we're gonna do this real quick, guys. This show is powered and sponsored by MSMN Gunpla Studio. If you're looking for model kits, materials, tools, everything else in between. They're located in Montreal, Quebec. They ship across Canada and all provinces, flat rates and all that fun stuff. Check them out, guys, at msmnstudio.com. Also, if you are a Side 6 member, we do have a subscription membership that helps our community and also opens up perks with MSMN Studio. Don't forget to check us out there as well. Also, this show is powered by USA Gundam Store. If you guys are looking for model kits, mecha decals from Tim Harkins, the one and only child of mecha. You're looking for How to Weather books by Michael Rinaldi, and the new fresh off the boat or hot stuff, fresh off the presses. I think the Vered book is now in pre-orders. Check it out, as well as Don Serratus Machina book. Check them out at usagundamstore.com, and you guys can save with my discount code AOMECHA. Done. All right, so well, that is it for the show tonight, guys. Thank you so much. Big thanks to Taz. Big thanks to everybody on the show, guys. It's one of my favorite shows, an amazing show, and I can't wait to do this all over again, guys. On Monday, we're going to be continuing the build for the RG Zeong. So if you guys are going to tune in on that, that's 8 p.m. on Monday, and I'll announce more of the new stuff coming in next week. We also have a new Spotlight, but that one's in the question mark because I'm getting my vaccine shot next week, so I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that. Imagine me all loaded up with like vaccine and I'm on the show and I'm like slowly fading away. I don't know. Anyways, I'm just excited about that. Guys, if this is your first time here, thank you so much. Don't forget to hit that like, follow, subscribe, share button. I really appreciate it because it helps the channel grow. And again, big thanks to everybody that subscribed and donated to the show today. Your support goes a long way to keeping this channel going. And yeah, thank you everyone. Until next time, guys, keep safe and keep on building. All right, take care, guys. See ya.